for today, so that helps to lower our rain chance. Here's a look at Milton right now, moving off the coast. Still have rainfall along the I-95 corridor near the Space Coast region up into the First Coast. And again, our wind will begin to ease as Milton's wind field moves offshore. Our winds will gradually ease as we through the day. You can see our wind gust really across central Florida really easing up as we head into this afternoon. And Lauren, even our conditions have improved, and even as we head over the next few days, we're still going to see maybe the chance for a few showers because of the eventual wind direction of Milton as it moves offshore.
Right. One other thing we could see is slightly lower humidity as we head into the weekend too. So we're continuing to see improving conditions. The tropical storm warning for Palm Beach County has expired. You'll see that here. And then Martin, St. Lucie, Indian River, Okeechobee counties, and the lake now under tropical storm warning. So we're starting to see these warnings get downgraded. This all happened as of the 8 o'clock update. I'm going to assume by the 11 o'clock advisory that the National Hurricane Center puts out that all of our warnings, will be allowed to completely expire. The flood watch has also expired for the entire area. You'll see on our map, there's nothing to look at. There's a little green further north. You can see kind of at the top of your screen there. But for most of the southern portion of the state, those alerts have all been allowed to go. We don't have a severe threat out there today. Skies are getting a lot drier. The core of the storm offshore right now, it's rather messy looking. We might get a couple of showers moving onshore a little late in the day, but for the most part, we are now finally starting to see some of those improving conditions. And that's going to be the story as we go through the next few hours, which will certainly help with cleanup efforts across parts of our area. Matt and Sam.
All right, thank you very much, Lauren. Do want to give an update as we take a live look at Fort Myers, where it looks a lot drier right now. We've been talking about the Blue Heron Bridge being closed this morning. We are just getting word now from the city of Riviera Beach that is now open and safe for drivers to use. So no more issues right now with the Blue Heron Bridge.
All right, stick with us here on CBS 12 News. We will continue tracking Milton when we come back. Welcome back to CBS 12 News. We want to continue our coverage now with CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz. She has been in Rocky Point in Stuart for much of the morning, talking to neighbors there in that area, taking a look at the damage. Lexi, what have you found now?
Sam, if you remember just a few hours ago, we showed you someone's roof that got transported 3 blocks away into another yard. Yeah, this is the home that belongs to. This home absolutely decimated behind me. We are told that the owner was able to make it out safely. She hid in a bathtub as the tornadoes ripped through the Rocky Point area. We're told she made it safely, and we're actually seeing neighbors coming in now, helping her pack up her belongings before any rain or any more wind comes through. Let me step out of the way so we can show you the extent of the damage to this home as the tornado ripped through. We've had many neighbors walking by, just coming in to check on the place. Like I said, someone just arrived with bins to help this woman pack up her belongings. We are told that she is safe, so that is the #1 thing to stress here. But just taking a look at these decimated walls, this home without a roof, the Nutcracker collection on the fireplace. You know, we come out here to report the news. We come out here to survey damage and show you all what's going on, be the boots on the ground for you. But this is just a testament to just step back and realize these are people's homes. These are people's livelihoods. This is people's property. A lot of life in this home with the different collections and the knickknacks, as you see. Someone was living here yesterday, and that's very important to note, the human part of this story, that this woman's home was so deeply affected. But we have seen neighbors, like I said, coming in and helping her pick up the pieces. So that is extremely nice to see. A lot of concerned neighbors in the Rocky Point area helping each other out today as they get out of their homes and survey the damage left behind from those tornadoes yesterday. We're going to zoom out. We're going to let them continue to pack up this home here. But yeah, this is one of the homes that we've seen most affected in the Rocky Point area. Everyone that we've checked in with in the past 3 blocks have said that their neighbors are safe, and that's the most important thing today. So we'll send it back to you.
That is the most important thing, but devastating, you know, to pack up what's left of your home and just have to move forward.
But that right there is why you need to get inside, away from windows, away from walls when there's a tornado coming, and get to the middle of your home as much as you can. Let's go to our Dylan Huberman now, joining us from St. Lucie County with the latest on the damage we are seeing there.
So we're continuing to make the rounds around the city of PSL, trying to see what the damage is with Officer Berger here. And he showed us this one location here on the corner of McDonald Street and Lantern Avenue, where you can see the power lines are down a mess in the road. And you can also see over here to my right some damage to a yard on Lantern Avenue. People having to get out of here because the power line can't do anything here. Now, what actually happened, the tornado came through, but you can see up on the top of the power pole, the pole actually snapped up top and got caught in it and wrangled those wires down. So at the moment, this neighborhood doesn't have any power, and it's not just in that corner. Eric, if you take a look over here, you'll also see that the left side here, there's more power lines, and those are running down to the ground. So there is a lot of electricity here on the ground, so they're making sure that nobody comes on Lantern Avenue. And now I'll bring in Officer Berger. So Officer Berger, now that you see all this damage, what's the next step to make sure that this gets rectified?
We've notified FPL. They're aware that this line is down, and they're working as fast as they can to come repair it.
Now, when it comes to this happening in a community, obviously there's not much that you can do on site, but how important is it to make sure that nobody gets near this, even though the sun is out and the storm's done?
Electricity is dangerous, whether it's sunny or cloudy, so it's in your best interest to stay away from power lines.
And now that we see that there's a lot of caution tape around these trees, around that, obviously that's not something that can get fixed in 2 seconds, but this whole neighborhood without power, how quick and how much of a priority is it to make sure that they get power back?
It is a top priority. I have not been given an ETA, though.
And from there, we will see where things go. But for now, in Port St. Lucie, Dylan Huberman, CBS 12 News.
Dylan popping around all over St. Lucie County, giving us the update there.
Yeah, we have our reporters sort of fanned out all over in all of the communities that were impacted by yesterday's tornadoes, and it's really been remarkable to see the damage this morning as the sun has come up, and what you know, what happened in such a short amount of time yesterday when these tornadoes just sort of popped up in these communities.
Yeah, I just been texting with Cara Duffy. She's on her way to give us the latest on Avanir in West Palm Beach Gardens. So we're going to be having more on that here as we continue to track Milton here on CBS 12 News. Let's take a look right now out at Jensen Beach. We are once again asking you to send us your photos and videos as you wake up and see some of the damage, some of what Milton left over in your neighborhood. This is important so we can show our viewers what exactly is going on out there. You do that by using the flow code right now that you see on your screen. So chime in with us and share your photos and videos. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to CBS 12 News, tracking Milton this morning.
That's right. Our Cara Duffy joining us with what we are seeing right now near Avanir in Palm Beach Gardens. Cara, what are you seeing?
I am out here at the corner of Orange Ave and South Rocks Road, just outside of Fort Pierce on the west side of 95. And there is a giant warehouse-like structure torn to pieces behind me. This is one of those warehouses that you see that kind of pop up out of nowhere. They're built with some aluminum supports and then those outside kind of aluminum ridge structures, and the damage is spread across the street, at least down a quarter of a mile, a few hundred yards. We can't even see the extent because it starts to get a little too densely covered with trees. But this is just an example of how these tornadoes were longer track, because all of this debris was lofted and picked up, taken down a few hundred yards at least. And it also shows how the down power lines are one of the primary risks associated with these tornadoes, because if it was a tornado that made its way across the street, it ripped apart the power lines. There's no power on this street right now, whether that be because they cut the power or because of the power lines being severed. But the power lines themselves are lying in these reservoir pools of water that formed because of the rain that happened yesterday. Fort Pierce saw at least 4 inches of rain during the down downpours that we saw associated with these tornadoes. So it will be very interesting to see when the National Weather Service of Melbourne comes out here tomorrow to do their assessment, what they determine the EF rating of the tornado to be. This is one of the structures that they do not consider to be well constructed, as you know, they're just built essentially with sticks and some aluminum and propped up kind of very fast. And so we'll get that updated survey for you as soon as we have it. But for now, reporting live just outside of Fort Pierce, I'm Charlotte Carl for CBS 12 News.
That's obviously Charlotte, not Kara, but we are going to be checking in with what's going on in Avanir in Palm Beach Gardens coming up soon.
Yeah, we have a lot more still to come here this morning. Stick with us on CBS 12 News. We'll be right back.
And welcome back here to CBS 12 News, continuing coverage of tracking Milton. Let's get right to meteorologist Jen Collins. You know, we were expecting, Jen, today to be a big storm day, but our weather conditions are looking pretty nice.
Yeah, some of our worst wind weather was primarily focused through the overnight period, and with some of our top winds reported right around the midnight hour. But right now we're starting to ease up our wind flow at this time. But you can see your peak wind gust here in Palm Beach County. Our top wind gust outside of thunderstorm was 72 miles per hour at the Palm Beach International Airport. Now, our top wind gust in Palm Beach County was actually a result of a tornado, one of the tornadoes that moved through the North Palm Beach County area, and at the regional airport there along the Beeline Highway, a 92 mile per hour wind gust was reported within that tornado, or in that general area of that tornado. So other wind reports, 61 mile per hour wind report at Juno Beach Pier, 66 mile per hour wind gust there in Lake Okeechobee along the inland portion of Okeechobee County, and 57 mile per hour wind gusts right there in Pahokee. So storm track, so our weather networks are showing, calmer conditions along our waters at this time. We do have an offshore wind flow, so our waves aren't kicking up, but it is on the breezy side, even gusty in some locations along the northern Treasure Coast. You can see Milton Center somewhere around here. The storm is kind of getting sheared apart, kind of ripped apart because of wind shear and dry air intruding in it. And that dry air will filter in behind the storm coming in from the northwest direction here in our local area. So expect much calmer conditions to move in as we head through the day today. So we still have some warnings in place for the East Coast, expecting most of these warnings to drop off here as we head through the next few hours once we maybe get our next advisory in from the National Hurricane Center. And so we still do have the potential for some stronger wind gusts along the northern Treasure Coast, though starting to bring down those wind speeds, ranging anywhere between 15 to 25 miles per hour. We do have a 29-mile-per-hour sustained wind in Fort Pierce. That last recorded as a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust, so this station might be a little delayed. 39-mile-per-hour wind gust there in the Vero Beach area and a 23-mile-per-hour wind gust right there in Boynton Beach. So your wind gusts our winds will decrease through the day today, particularly heading into the afternoon. We'll have a north-northwest wind flow across the area, and that's really going to dry us up and maybe keep a stray shower chance around. But by tomorrow morning, this is when an onshore wind flow does return behind Milton, and that onshore wind flow will maybe bring up our tide levels a bit around the morning and evening high tide, so that could lead to some minor coastal flooding, but will also bring a few showers on shore as we start out the day, with most of the showers pushing their way inland into the afternoon, and then a direct onshore wind flow returns heading into Saturday. So cooler weather, I have to say, heading into the weekend, not quite as hot and humid as what we've been dealing with for the past couple of days. And as we look at your weekend forecast, a few scattered showers, and then by next week, we will bring back our afternoon shower and thunderstorm potential.
All right, Jen, thank you. We want to check back in with our Danielle DeRoss now. She's been keeping an eye on things in our area and other parts of the state, and she's got a new look at some damage out of Martin County. Danielle?
Yeah, we're starting to get a look at the damage done to some of our schools. These images behind me here were sent to us by the Martin County School District, which says that there is significant damage here at Murray Middle School in Port Salerno. So I'm clicking on that image there. Hopefully it loads for you very soon. But they say that the ag building was significantly damaged. And in some of these pictures, you see that the roof was completely taken off. Let's go back to that. So you see there, that's the sunshine poking through what was the roof of that building. Now let's look over at what happened to the choir in the band room. So here you see just all of this debris inside this room at Murray Middle School. You see all these desks strewn about. Back there you see musical instruments, a big drum, a string instrument, really sending it home that this is a school building and a place where all of these kids typically learn, now severely damaged. And here you see more debris outside of that school there. So Martin County School District says that they are still assessing the damage. They had originally planned to be closed tomorrow and hoping to reopen on Monday. Obviously, structures like this is going to take quite some time to come back from damage like that. Also seeing some new images coming out of other parts of the state. This is the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office sharing here a video from inside of a home where they say a massive oak tree crashed through the roof. They say this is a stark reminder of what can happen during these dangerous storms. Back to you.
Can't believe those images of that school.
I
Murray
know,
Middle
that's
School in Port
awful.
Salerno.
All right, well, we want to remind you that you can keep sending us photos and videos of any damage that you're seeing as you walk out of your house this morning, as long as you can safely take them. You can do that by scanning the QR code that you see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You can also go to our website, cbs12.com. This is a live look in Juno Beach. Our coverage tracking Milton continues after this break. Welcome back, everyone. We want to continue our storm coverage now in St. Lucie County.
Yeah, CBS 12 News reporter Dylan Huberman is joining us at the sheriff's office. Saw some major damage there yesterday. Dylan, what are they waking up to today?
They're waking up to this hangar behind them where they store a lot of their high water vehicles, their SWAT vehicles, their TUC personnel vehicles. A lot of them crushed as a tornado came right through and smashed thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment, worth of vehicles. But the most important thing that Sheriff Keith Pearson told me just moments ago is that nobody was injured and that lives are not replaceable in that circumstance. And also the most important thing is that there were no interruptions to service in the community during this important time when they needed to be out and about. All of these deputies were able to get out in there, and to him, these were just items. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. Now, what he also told me is in Spanish Lakes community up in Fort Pearson, a little bit farther in unincorporated St. Lucie County, he told me that there were 4 casualties was the number that they put on it. That number was the first time we've heard this. They told us multiple fatalities, but now we can confirm that it is at least 4 guys. So this is a developing situation. We're expecting to hear from Governor Ron DeSantis here at the sheriff's office in an hour or two. We'll bring that to you guys as well. Guys, back to you.
All right, Dylan, thank you. We will keep checking in with you throughout the morning. Right now, we're taking a live look in Delray Beach. Looks pretty nice out there right now, all things considered, huh?
Yeah, for sure. We've got a lot more of our coverage here coming up next right here on CBS 12 News this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Just about 10 a.m. right now, and our coverage continues tracking Milton.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Milton, we're learning there are at least 4 confirmed deaths, all of them in St. Lucie County. We also have new video showing the aftermath of the tornado in St. Lucie County there. But what we really want to do right now is get to Kara Duffy. She is live for us in Avanir in Palm Beach Gardens with a special guest there, Brian Mash, joining her. Let's get to Kara now.
Director and then the president.
Hi there, Matt and Sam. Yeah, I am just getting an update right now from Congressman Mast and some of his employees here. I'm not quite sure with the sound how we can do it, but we will get that update in just a second. I believe it was an update about FEMA. As you mentioned, we are here in the Avanir community and joined right now by Palm Beach Gardens Mayor Chelsea Reed, as well as the Vice Mayor County Maria Marino. Thank you guys so much for being out here, and of course Congressman Mast, who's on a call right now. This is really a meeting of leaders on all levels. Walk me through the reaction to come out and see this here.
Honestly, Maria and I just arrived with Congressman Mast. We're blown away by the amount of damage that did come from the tornadoes. However, our first responders were on the ground ahead of time, during, and they're here again now. We're happy to say we have had no reports of any fatalities. We do see a tremendous amount of property damage, though, and we're really glad to have your local government, your county government, and your federal government here to make sure all the residents are okay and take a look at it firsthand.
Well, I appreciate Congressman Mast calling to say where can he come today and what can he do to help. And so if first call here, called Chelsea, called the city manager, Ron Ferris, to make sure we had boots on the ground here. I mean, our getting the message out is what's most important. People need to be safe. People need to take care when they're on the roads. Don't go driving on a road if there's lines down. All of the measures that you need to take to be safe, we really need people to do that now. I know it's post-hurricane and whatnot, and everybody wants to go out and look, but please, when you're out, please be careful. Please be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And our cameraman, Nashon, if you could just kind of show people at home, because this really is our first chance of being inside as we continue to chat with you. But to see this damage, I mean, we've seen viewer footage coming in overnight, and it looked bad. But then when you see this in person, I mean, it's truly unbelievable here. What's next? What does a day look like, a week look like here in this community moving forward?
Well, it looks like cleanup. It looks like patience. The most important thing we can ask for is patience, because we can't do this overnight. However, and I'll let Chelsea and Ron Ferris talk to you about cleanup in the city. We have, for the county, from the county's perspective, we had boots on the ground already. For everyone that wants to know, the airport is going to be open. So different crews in different areas. The tornadoes were an equal opportunity destroyer. Doesn't matter where you are, they hit.
And our crews are here. They're ready. They were ready last night. They've been here this morning. We've heard code compliance should be out very soon as well. So everything's been taken care of. We do kind of tease in the city if a palm frond falls down, it's picked up within about half an hour. You can expect the same thing with this at an even larger degree.
Yeah, and we've been speaking a lot to some of the neighbors who've been waking up, who've been describing it, and I think the only way really to describe it is that it looked like something out of a movie, and that is something that we're certainly seeing today. Do you guys have any idea about the update possibly from Congressman Mast? I know he's still on the phone. Have you guys been waiting to hear from someone? I think we heard something about FEMA, anything?
Correct. So Congressman Mast in the car while we were driving said to please take photographs of everything, to take your time when you file with FEMA if you do wind up filing for damages, so that you can have someone come out and actually perform an assessment, not just file immediately. So take your time. Yeah, don't settle. And take your time.
There's a lot of damage that you actually don't see, and they were talking about with tornadoes as opposed to hurricanes. With tornadoes, they can actually flex the house, so you're settled. It might settle incorrectly, and you really need a complete assessment. So don't just say yes to the fixing your window. You need to have somebody come out and really look at, is your house still settled in on the property the way it's supposed to be?
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, Congressman Mast, I know you were on the phone. I don't mean to, get you off guard here, but any updates that you can give for us, or reaction this morning coming out and getting a glimpse of what this looks like?
I mean, I think you can see here, there is a whole of government that is paying attention to this and looking to see where can we assist in whatever way that we can assist. So obviously you have local government right here From the federal side of it, you have myself, the FEMA administrator will be on the ground in St. Lucie County in the coming hours, or even shorter than that. The governor will be on the ground here, so everybody at every level is trying to look, number one, just to make sure, are there still search and rescue efforts that need to take place anywhere? That's number one. And then beyond that, they're making that assessment for FEMA, and being just on the phone with the FEMA administrator, she was saying anything related to a tornado, and this was a question, anything related to a tornado would fall under the same disaster declaration for the rest of the hurricane. They would not be separate things that they have to go out there and try to look to add up and account for. That matters in the government world. Doesn't matter to somebody trying to recover right now, but in the government world, these things matter. And so she made sure to make that point. And just the only reassurance I can give is that everybody is all hands on deck right now.
Awesome. And then as far as I know, you mentioned the governor, possibly something along the lines of the president. Do you know of any in particular visits? I know you said FEMA going to St. Lucie County. Do we know if the governor perhaps could be boots on the ground here?
That the governor will be there. I don't want to speak for him, but it's likely that he'll be there.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you guys so much for fitting us in today. And of course, this neighborhood, just one of several in the area that have been hit very hard. But as we can tell, this one in particular, just devastating. Matt, Sam, we're going to continue to keep you updated. As you just heard from Congressman Mast, potentially the governor coming down here locally. So certainly something we will be keeping a close watch on. Matt, Sam.
Yeah, Carol, we can help you with that. We have just got an update that Governor DeSantis is expecting to have a press conference in Fort Pierce in about 2 hours from now. So we, of course, will be covering that and bringing it to you live on the air.
And that's where you are looking at video from right now, the sheriff's office there in St. Lucie County. This is new video showing the aftermath of the tornado there. You can see it destroyed a 10,000-foot sheriff's facility. Our Dylan Huberman was just out there minutes ago. We checked in with him. You can see the structure there fell on vehicles and a boat. Here's what the St. Lucie County Communications Director, Eric Gill, had to say this morning about the damage.
As of this morning, the medical examiner has confirmed that there were 4 deaths as of yesterday's tornadoes that rolled through our county from Hurricane Milton. Crews are still out today doing additional damage assessment and rescue and recovery in some neighborhoods. We had at least 2 confirmed tornadoes touch down yesterday between 4 and 6 o'clock. There have been reports as many as a dozen tornadoes, but we will need to wait for confirmation from the National Weather Service on that in the next day or two. But we know within about a 2-hour period, we had over 900 calls to our Emergency Operations Center regarding the tornado activity that was happening in our county.
Yeah, and Jen, what have we decided on now with the amount of tornado warnings that we had yesterday in the state? Across the state, in one day, we had 126 tornado warnings issued for across the state. So that was actually the second, the highest amount of tornado warnings ever issued in a single day. The first one was the April 27th, 2011 incident that occurred. So, of course, tornado outbreak that occurred. So. Certainly still thinking about those who have damage, and of course across the Treasure Coast and Palm Beach County, and conditions today are expected to improve. And you can see on our Juno Beach camera calmer conditions on the water because we have an offshore wind flow at this time. So that offshore wind flow will help to bring in the drier air across the area and actually reduce the rain chances heading into the afternoon. Here's a look at Hurricane Milton right now. It has been sheared out. There's not much structure to the storm itself because it's dealing with a lot of upper level strong wind shear, but also it's being influenced by the dry air too. And it will eventually weaken as it moves into the Atlantic Ocean, continuing that east track here as we head through the weekend. Now, tropical storm warnings are still in effect for the Treasure Coast and Okeechobee County. Likely going to see these drop here over the next few hours because our wind speeds are beginning to die down as we're exiting out of Milton's wind field. So wind advisory is in effect for coastal metro Palm Beach County. We have a west-northwest wind today at around 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Of course, early in the day, by this afternoon, we'll just see breezy conditions with wind speeds ranging between 10 to 15 miles per hour, gust up to about maybe 20 miles per hour possible heading into later tonight. And by tomorrow morning, an onshore wind flow does return. So that will increase our threat for rip currents up and down our area beaches, our wave heights too.
for our offshore waters, where hurricane warnings are still in effect at this time and tropical storm warnings still in effect for our offshore waters off the Palm Beaches. By the weekend, our wave heights will begin to decrease, but we still have that onshore wind flow, so some hazardous conditions are expected along our coastline. Wind speeds right now ranging anywhere between 20 to 30 miles per hour, have had some gusts over 35 miles per hour, but this certainly isn't the 60 mile per hour wind gust we were looking at early this morning. All of that has started to ease back now. So look at that hour-by-hour forecast. Keep some sun around, maybe a few clouds in the picture through the day today. No rain chance really, maybe a passing shower. But tomorrow morning, though, again, as I was mentioning, that onshore wind flow returns to the area with a northeast wind behind Milton, and that will push showers onto our coastline to start out the day, with most of that working its way inland by the afternoon. So here's a look at that 10-day forecast. So temperature-wise, we'll stay in the low 80s for the weekend with a few scattered showers in the picture. And then next week, we will have the chance for showers and thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
All right, Jen, thank you. You know, when we did get our last update from Governor DeSantis, he talked a little bit about power outages. He said there were about 3 million customers in the state without power at that time. We want to check back in with Danielle DeRoss to get the latest on those numbers. Danielle?
Yes, Sam, the governor says that restoration efforts are underway. They were able to get hundreds of thousands of people back. However, we're starting to see that number climb. So while restoration efforts are starting, even more outages are reporting. And so the balance here is that there's a net gain of outages, and the number right here is 3.3 million. I said earlier this morning, I hope that we had already seen the peak. That was when we were at about 3 million. So unfortunately, we're trending in the wrong direction here, but hopefully as conditions can be a little bit safer, crews can get out there and really get that restoration effort underway. Every single county in our area has experienced outages this morning. You see our counties here in yellow, meaning that we're not the worst in the state. These counties here in dark red are the hardest hit. We have about 500,000 outages in Hillsborough County alone. Here we have an update out of Wellington. Public Works crews are hitting the streets. They are trying to clear debris right now. They say if we have not gotten to your neighborhood yet, we will be there soon. So a little bit of reassurance there out of Wellington, which was hit so hard. I do want to end here with the city of Sarasota posting just moments ago that the iconic unconditional surrender statue stood tall through Hurricane Milton. They say despite strong winds and rain, this well-known landmark is still standing, symbolizing the strength of that community. Matt and Sam.
We'll continue our coverage now. Let's go out to our Alexis Cruz. She continues to show us some more of the damage there. Wow. Lexi, where are you right now?
Hey, we're still in Rocky Point. We are in Stuart, and we stumbled upon this home that has a shed in the front of it. We're not sure if the shed belongs to this home or it was picked up and thrown from another location, but I'll step out of the way so you can get a closer look at what's going on here. It appears to be a shed. We're not sure. We haven't spoken to the homeowners yet as we just arrived, but as I'm looking through some of the belongings in here, it kind of looks like it could be a closet as well. We're even seeing some Christmas decorations spread out across the floor. Now, this is one of those situations where this was picked up and thrown at least into this front yard, rather if it was from this house or a neighboring home. You know, we're getting later into the morning now, so we are seeing residents in this area picking up what's left behind. You know, the sunlight is in full effect now. Everyone is got their chainsaws out. We've seen people with axes. They're working on the trees. They're working on the debris. Like I said, we haven't spoken to this homeowner yet, but as there's a lot of people on the street. We have some actual Martin County fire officials. If I could pan you this way, this is the water rescue team. It seems like they might be checking in with some of their neighbors, or they might be surveying some of the damage. We've talked to a few Martin County first responders who live in Rocky Point. They say that all the first responders, as they come off shift, they'll be coming and helping their coworkers out, cleaning up the damage at these homes. So we're not sure if they're checking in with neighbors, but it seems like they're kind of just talking to homeowners, seeing what's going on here, seeing any way that they can help assess this damage and help them clean up. This is going to be a long process for this area, but like I said, the entire morning, these people are great. They are concerned about their neighbors. They are not only picking up their yards, but they're making sure everyone is taken care of in the area. So I'll send it back to you at the desk, and we'll see what else we can find.
All right, Lexi, thank you. We want to continue our storm coverage now in St. Lucie County. That is where we find our Dylan Huberman. He has been live in St. Lucie County pretty much all morning. Dylan, where are you at right now?
So I'm at White City Park, Matt and Sam, which is in Fort Pierce, and you can see that the river here has flooded into the parking lot. This is a lot more water than is usually here. As you can see, that water level is high. And again, the rain may have stopped, but this has been a lot of water. If you look out there into the distance to my right, you'll see again, there is a lot more water than is usually in this park. That is a high level, so for the moment, we're the only ones that are out here in this park on this side because of that flooding. And then I'll take you over here to my left. You'll also see there's a bunch of trees down that got snapped. Don't know if a tornado came through here or if it was just heavy winds, but these trees definitely got snapped down by this storm. This should be a relatively quick cleanup. A couple of things here don't look like they're seriously damaged, but again, it's going to take time for that flooding to recede, and that's the big thing now, is time just for this thing to get back and this park to look like it did before the storm. Matt and Sam.
All right, Dylan, thank you very much. We also want to bring this now. We got Rick Bradshaw, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, had a press conference just a few moments ago. Let's listen to some of that right now.
Yeah, we're out here in Wellington. I came out here. I'm going to survey the damage. The helicopter just landed a block over. I want to get in it so I can see the whole area. Right? But basically, our goal is to make sure that we keep everybody safe and secure out here. Wellington seems to be the hardest area hit, so all of our Western region deputies are going to go on 12-hour shifts, so I know I got enough to protect the neighborhoods. We really don't need a curfew because it's not county-wide, right? We can protect the people out here with the deputies that we need. So, you know, we're helping people get to where they need to go. Traffic lights are out, we're directing traffic there. We're helping any services, emergency services, get in and out of the neighborhoods, helping get debris off the ground. But we've got enough deputies out here to do what we need to do. Now, I just talked to the Martin County Sheriff. They got hit really bad, right? So I may send some deputies up there to help him. But out here, we got plenty of deputies to do what we need to do, secure it so the bad guys can't come in here and start looting. So we'll be here with the full force.
That was my question, Sheriff.
Yeah.
You know, some of the homeowners that experienced
right.
this extensive damage, in addition to now being worried about their homes, now
yeah.
the security. So as far as that, you're saying you're going to have people around the clock?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't have to worry about security. We're going to have enough deputies out here. They'll be high profile going up and down the streets 24 hours a day until they get themselves back where they need to be. So they don't have to worry about that.
What's the plan after you tour everything? What is the...
Well, as soon as I get a really good handle on the assessment, I'll just want to check to see what our deployment is. And then if I need additional people out here, I can get additional people out here. But for me to make that decision on deployment, I got to see exactly how spread out it is and where the more severe damage is. And by doing an aerial view, it's a lot easier.
So yesterday we heard that there were a couple of injuries in the county. We want to get an update on that. Do we have any updates on fatalities possibly?
Okay, we don't have any fatalities. We're really fortunate about that. We have some people that were injured, but they're not life-threatening injuries. Unfortunately, I think there was a horse that was killed when a barn fell on it. Very unfortunate. But all in all, we're very, very lucky that nobody got severely injured. So those people got taken to the hospital. I'm sure they're going to be treated and released. But right now, no fatalities, no really life-threatening injuries.
What's your message to the public right now?
The message to the public is, we're going to take care of you. We're going to keep you safe. Do what you need to do to get your family back to where you need to be. There's emergency services coming in. The county's going to help out with also. So they just need to feel free to do what they need to do without worrying about their security. We're going to be there to help them. We'll take care of their needs. We'll get them back and forth where they need to go through the stoplights and everything that aren't working. But just realize we're here for you.
And I know you haven't obviously gone up in the helicopter yet and seen everything from above, but I'm sure you've seen images and videos and all of that. From what you've seen in the videos and images coming out in the news, what's your initial reaction?
Well, look, I've lived here all my life. I've never seen anything like this. Never that many, one after the other. Right, once in a while you might have a yard torn up with trees, but this is pretty severe. This is severe damage that could have been a heck of a lot worse than it was as far as loss of life, but it's still something that I've never seen, and there's a lot of damage. Well, the next couple of days is trying to get back to normal. I think that most of the power is back on. I think there's 5,000 or 6,000 that may not have it. So once they get the power back on and people understand the debris they have to clear and whatever structural damage they have, if they can make the house inhabitable again. But it's all about recovery right now. But we just want to make the recovery as smooth and as easy as we can make it.
I know you mentioned that you spoke to the Martin County.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to any of the other counties? I believe St. Lucie also had one of their operations just wiped off the land.
Yeah, they had one of their facilities damaged pretty bad. I haven't been able to get a hold of him yet. I know Martin County got hit really bad, so we're going to be available to help them. I was going to send some deputies up to the West Coast, but I'm holding them back, and we'll do what we need to do with the counties that are next to us.
That was from just a few moments ago, the Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw saying that the county is very lucky. We had said that we hadn't heard of any fatalities in Palm Beach County. Now we have confirmed with the sheriff that there are no fatalities and no one with life-threatening injuries. He did have a unfortunate story about a horse that passed away when a barn fell on it. But again, no human fatalities here from this storm.
Yeah, all things considered, that is great news. You heard him say it could have been a lot worse. And in his whole life, he's never seen anything like this, with one tornado after another causing such significant damage. Good also to hear him say that he has got his deputies out in those areas so that these poor people who have just had their homes destroyed aren't also worrying about people trying to take advantage of them during a time like this. We're talking about looting and things like that. So there's going to be security in these neighborhoods where these people are trying to clean up now and move on with their lives.
And in case you missed that at the end, he also said that the sheriff's office had planned on sending some of their deputies across the state to help out west, but instead he's going to keep them here in case Palm Beach County needs any help. I think specifically the Treasure Coast counties need some help up there.
Yeah. Some good news though, today the weather is looking much better than expected. So for people getting out there, Jen, and cleaning up, they won't have to worry about a significant weather threat.
Yeah, because our winds will decrease through the afternoon too. And of course, we don't have any severe weather threat because drier air is starting to filter back in behind Milton as it moves off into the Atlantic. Here's the track of the storm once it made landfall. Remember, it was a Category 5 hurricane at the start of the day yesterday, and then weakened as it moved its way towards the west coast of Florida, but it still maintained its major hurricane strength with winds up to 120 miles per hour when it made landfall on Siesta Key. It was steered by a cold front boundary to our north, basically a dip in our jet stream that actually made Milton take a right turn and move straight over the central portion of the state. So it was moving to the northeast and then kind of made that slight east movement associated with it. Now it's in the Atlantic, moving away as a Category 1 hurricane. Here's the radar imagery loop through the day yesterday, and it's particularly around the time when we started to see isolated severe thunderstorms develop. We had the perfect environment for this. We had dry conditions through the morning, so our ground was able to heat up. And then we had, of course, the wind shear associated with the hurricane, but we also had a very moist environment too. So all those ingredients together basically is why we saw this outer band of Milton move onshore and produce these tornadoes across the area. It is a nice one outside right now, though, behind Milton. And actually, as we take a look at the actual structure of the storm, it's starting to kind of tear apart a bit. We have wind shear playing in store with it, and also drier air too filtering in behind from the northwest. So as Milton moves into the Atlantic Ocean, we're expecting our weather conditions to improve drastically through the day today. So it has been a little on the breezy side. We have high level clouds across the northern Treasure Coast, fairly sunny conditions in southern Palm Beach County. tropical alerts are still in place for the east coast of Florida because we have had some gusty conditions over the past few hours. But we get our next advisory about 11 o'clock, and we'll have to see if maybe some of these alerts get dropped here over the next hour or so. So tropical storm warning still in effect, but our winds are decreasing. So this threat is no longer in place. We have a wind advisory in effect for Metro Palm Beach County, as gusts could be up to about 50 miles per hour at times. So wind speeds generally across the area, anywhere between maybe 15 to 25 miles per hour. We have seen some gusts around the 40 mile per hour mark right around the downtown West Palm Beach area. So in the Vero Beach area, notice this, we have that north wind flow across the area. Wind speeds will decrease, and then we'll see a slight adjustment in our wind direction later on tonight. And that adjustment in our wind direction will actually bring in the chance for some showers starting off your Friday morning and then working their way inland through the day. So passing showers are expected behind Milton for your Friday because we'll have some lingering moisture in the area. But by Saturday, an onshore wind flow will return, and that's gonna also maybe keep our rain chance lower, but bring in a little bit more sun here and there too. So still a little on the windy side for today. Mostly cloudy though, will be breezy by the evening. By tomorrow, chance for a few scattered showers. We'll keep that shower chance around for the weekend. A little less humidity too by Saturday, temperatures running in the low 80s. And then looking ahead to next week, we will see some moisture return to our area. That will increase our humidity levels a touch. So that'll bring in the chance for showers and thunderstorms to start off next week. But overall, this weekend's not looking too bad. In fact, we don't really have much humidity to make it feel hotter outside, so our heat index value won't be relevant for the weekend, but we will see the chance for a few showers in the area. Sam, Matt?
Jen, thanks. Let's show you some new video here from Tampa police rescuing 15 people, including children, from a home there. According to police, they got a call of a tree crashing into a single-story home. Our Danielle DeRoss actually showed us some of this video a little earlier. Officers were able to get to that home as soon as there was a break in the storm bands. They got everyone out of the house safely and took them to the closest shelter.
We also want to show you this. This is a sinkhole in Hillsborough County.
Wow.
Warning tape keeping people away from this sidewalk here. That is pretty unbelievable.
That is a large sinkhole there. Yeah. More video from Tropicana Field in Tampa this morning. Take a look. This is another piece of drone video showing us a different angle, a view above of that damage there, that roof destroyed there on Tropicana Field.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that stadium was set to protect all the first responders there, and I've seen some reporting there that roof was made to withstand 115 mile per hour winds. Apparently not strong enough. No.
The good news is they did move those linemen before that all happened, so no one was hurt in that situation.
Right. Are we going to Danielle next?
I think we're going to Charlotte.
We're going to go to Charlotte first. Let's check in with our Charlotte Carl in Fort Pierce with what she is seeing there. Charlotte?
Yeah, guys, thanks. So we're out at Lakewood Park Church, just adjacent to the Spanish Lakes community. And what's happening here is parishioners are arriving to assess the damage of their church. The pastor just arrived and he wasn't ready to go on camera, but he did come visit the damage, check out what was going on last night. But because it was dark, he didn't get a good idea of what's going on. So he's back. He says he's just grateful that him and his family and most of the parishioners are safe. They have not heard yet from their parishioners in the Spanish Lakes community because they have had search and rescue efforts underway. So this is a massive pine tree that was taken down by one of the tornadoes that passed through the area. And I mean, I tried to stand on this and it will not break. So it is a strong tree, and it wasn't even uprooted. It was snapped in half. And another branch from the pine tree just next to this tree was launched into this car that's parked right in front of the church. You can also see behind the car are, they had shutters. They had boarded up for Milton because they were under that hurricane warning. So they were prepared, and lots of the shutters in the back end of the church were ripped off from this tornado. There's also another oak tree that's in the center of the parking lot that was uprooted. So not only were trees snapped, they were uprooted. Parishioners in their arrival, they've spoken to me. One of them named Kathy was telling me, you know, she lives just down the road in a mobile home park. So she was watching and listening to all of our alerts, and she's so grateful that she's okay. And she's really hoping that they can hear from their friends and family in the Spanish Lakes community soon. We tried to drive through there, and right now, because of the search and rescue efforts, we weren't able to get very far, and we wanted to, you know, kind of respect their privacy as they continue to look for all of the missing folks in that area and kind of assess their damage as a whole in the community. So that's what's going on here. Again, we're at Lakewood Park Church, just outside of the Lakewood Park community and just next to the Spanish Lakes estates. All the parishioners also told me that they had just replaced this roof about 6 months ago and recently got the bells at the top of the church working. So they're very upset, obviously, understandably so, that all of the work that had been put into this church is now kind of needs to completely be redone. So, you know, our thoughts are with them, and we're glad that everyone that we spoke to is okay, although, you know, our thoughts are out with the Spanish Lakes community as they're, you know, still undergoing those search and rescue efforts and have confirmed those fatalities over there.
We had our Dylan Human there earlier in the dark, and we didn't really see as much of the damage as we did right now. And you can see there's significant damage to that church.
All right, our updates continue after this. We're going to take a quick break. Stick with us here on CBS 12 News as we continue tracking Milton.
Here's the latest on Hurricane Milton right now. It still is maintaining that hurricane status. We will get the latest advisory that will be issued about 11 o'clock. Wouldn't be surprised if it has weakened, but it is being kind of torn apart by upper level wind shear as well as dry air filtering in behind the system. So we are expecting that to move into the Atlantic basin, and then eventually we will watch that kind of dissipate into a remnant low too. So not anymore bringing a heavy rainfall threat even for central Florida anymore. Most of the conditions have moved offshore. So as we look at Milton's track, again, it's going to likely weaken by the end of the day today, and then notice the movement of it. It's heading into the central Atlantic, because it's being steered overhead by a cold front boundary, and then also will cold front boundary, and that boundary will kind of morph along with it, and eventually it'll head into open waters and away from us. We still have alerts in place. This will likely get discontinued here over the next hour or so. And then we have a wind advisory in effect for Metro Palm Beach County because of our gustier conditions to start out the day. But by this evening, we're expecting likely breezy conditions in the area. Wind speeds will range anywhere later tonight between 10 to maybe 15 miles per hour, with maybe some gust of around 25 miles per hour. So our wind speeds drastically decrease later on today. Our wave heights, though, will remain elevated just because of the direction of wind flow behind Milton. As it moves into the Atlantic, we'll still see this onshore wind flow behind it, and that will leave our wave heights elevated and also keep the elevated rip current risk around too for our area beaches. Wind speeds ranging anywhere between 15 to 25 miles per hour right now. So these are our current wind gust. We have had some gusts in the 30 mile per hour range, 32 mile per hour wind gusts just reported in the Vero Beach area. So your hour-by-hour forecast, keep some sun in the picture for today. Maybe a few passing clouds in the area, a very low chance for a shower. By tonight, we'll continue to see that north wind flow, maybe a few showers along the northern Treasure Coast. And then heading into the day tomorrow, we'll have an onshore wind flow in the area. So that will push a few showers around through the day tomorrow. Passing in nature, most of it will be located along the coastline. And we just have enough moisture behind Milton with that onshore wind flow to push some of those showers onto our coastline. So we'll keep the shower chance around not only for tomorrow, but also for the weekend too. Notice our temperatures though. We're not dealing with the upper 80s anymore, or 90-degree temperatures. In fact, lower humidity will stick around heading into Saturday, so that really keeps conditions fairly comfortable around the area. Our humidity will gradually return by the end of the weekend and into the start of next week, which will build in our shower and thunderstorm chance Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But temperatures will remain a few degrees below our normal for this time of the year, with afternoon highs in the low 80s across the area. Matt and Sam.
Jen, thank you. Let's continue our storm coverage now in St. Lucie County. Let's get out to CBS 12 News reporter Dylan Huberman. Dylan, where are you at right now?
So guys, I'm on the corner of Midway Road and Selvitz Road, which is on the line between Fort Pierce and Port St. Lucie. And what's behind me here is the traffic lights are out. Now, we've talked about how there's all these power lines being down all throughout the community in various different spots. This is a major intersection, so right now it's a lot of stop and go traffic. As you can see, it's kind of a little open season here, so that's going to be up to FPL to kind of make sure that they can prioritize what they need to get done. An intersection like this is one of them. We've been driving throughout the county all of this morning, and there are a lot more that are on the outskirts of the city that are going to need some work done on. And again, this intersection, as you can see, is a major intersection. It's basically turning into a gigantic stop sign. Hopefully that gets resolved soon, but this is the current situation here and in a number of other places in the county. Matt and Sam.
Yeah, Dylan, thank you. You know, where he is in Fort Pierce is about 12 miles south of where Charlotte just was in Fort Pierce, but exactly south. So, you know, we saw the way those tornadoes were moving up. And so certainly both of those locations, the Lakewood Park Church where Charlotte was and that traffic light right there, both could have been right there on that same tornado, that same system as it was moving up.
Yeah, and it's likely there are traffic lights out, you know, in other parts of these counties where these tornadoes did not go through. Obviously, you know, we saw strong winds in other areas along I-95. There were traffic lights out. So just keep that in mind as you're heading out today. There's still the possibility that traffic lights, you know, will be out. So treat those like a four-way stop. Use a lot of extra caution if you do have to get on the roads today.
Let's go over to Danielle DeRoss here with the latest.
I think we're going to go to Stephanie Valderrama right now in Wellington. Steph?
Yes. Hey, Matt and Sam. So I want to touch on something you just said about the traffic lights, because earlier this morning we were hearing that there was about 6 of them out here in Wellington. We've been sort of driving around in places where we can. Most of them are coming back online. It's really hard to sort of navigate this area right now, you know, because people are sort of driving around, trying to check out and see the damage. Don't be the nosy neighbor, stay home, because you're creating sort of traffic issues for first responders and then cleaning crews, also Village Wellington officials who are trying to assess the damage. And let's get to that now. So I have been here in the Meadowwoods neighborhood all morning long, and in the dark, it was very hard to see the damage. But now with the daylight, we're sort of seeing all that these tornadoes left behind. So a lot of downed trees in this area. It seems like at this house here, there might have been some damage to their family car. It's sort of covered in a tarp. And then the house diagonal behind it, I mean, the window of that home was blown out. So who is to say the damage that
that caused inside the home. And even their neighbor here, as you can see, the gate is just gone. I mean, the trees around it ripped it out of the ground. And that just shows you again how strong those storms were through this area. I mean, pretty much this whole road here in Meadowwoods, there's just downed trees and debris all over it. Some homeowners, it seems, have called in big crews to start those cleanups. I mean, they're cutting down these massive trees. Obviously that's going to take a while, but that's pretty much the scene here in this neighborhood. I can't stress this enough, as the cleanup continues today and into the next couple of days, like if you don't have to leave your home, don't, because it really is creating a lot of traffic issues for the people that have to really get in here and help clean up this area. We have a neighbor here behind us. He is just dragging a piece, we're not even sure what that is, of metal across his yard right here. So yeah, if you don't have to leave your house, just stay there, because I mean, earlier we were trying to get to this area and PBSO has some of the roads sort of, down to one lane, maybe blocked off, because they have to allow cleanup crews to get in there and remove all of this debris. So don't be out on the roads, because they need to do what they need to do in order for all of this area to get cleaned up. Matt, Sam, back to you. All right, Stephanie, thank you. Of course, there is a lot of damage across our state right now. We want to check back in with Danielle DeRoss, who's keeping an eye on what we're seeing out there right now. Danielle?
Yeah, the damage spans much of the state this morning. We're getting a look here at some damage from the Florida Turnpike. They have posted this on social media, a washed out portion of the Turnpike in Lake County. So this is not too far from Orlando. You can see some of their crews here working on that, and just the depth of that hole in the road is pretty striking. Let's look at some of their other photos here from this area in Lake County. So you see that entire lane is washed out at that part. And they do say that they're working to get all of the Turnpike back up and running and restored, but clearly going to take a lot of time to do some repairs that serious. We do have another update to share with you from Tampa International Airport. That airport announcing that it would be closing for Hurricane Milton a while ago, and there is no clear date for when they are going to be reopening. Right now, they are assessing the damage, and they're sharing on social media some photos of damage this morning. I want to just scroll through the pictures that we see here. They didn't provide caption information, so we can only really look at these photos and kind of surmise what we're seeing. But we're seeing water, and we're seeing damage like this. This looks to be a hangar, because I do see an aircraft inside of this structure. And so you're also seeing debris on the ground here inside of the airport, and this would appear to be a missing wall, part of the structure blown away from this storm. So really serious damage here at Tampa's airport. And there's one more photo here of the exterior of that structure, where you do see what looks to be parts of that structure has been shredded and blown away. So that does look very serious there in Tampa. Locally, PBI also still shut down at this hour. They too say that they are surveying the damage and trying to assess when they can reopen. No announcement yet for when flights will get up and running again. Matt and Sam.
All right, Danielle, thank you. Let's continue our coverage now with CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz.
Yes, she is right in Port Salerno next to Murray Middle School. We showed you some images of this school before that seemed to have sustained some major damage there. Lexi, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Matt, we're pretty far away from that damage. It's more inside of the school. We see lots of officials working on the school right now, surveying the damage there. But let's show you right outside the middle school. We've got a trampoline already on the sidewalk over here, and I want to take you to over here. We got some people walking around looking at the damage. Piece of metal here. We got a wooden structure here picked up and thrown. But I want you to walk with me towards Southeast 47th Avenue. We've got a tree that's uprooted uprooted right here. That's not even half of it. We're going to go to this metal structure that was picked up and thrown during this tornadoes. We've got a sign behind it, more uprooted trees. We have people to our right working to already rebuild their fence. But come closer with me here, Southeast 47th Avenue, like we're saying in Port Salerno. I want to show you the power line situation. We were here earlier when it was dark outside, but now that it's fully sunlight, we're seeing the neighbors surveying the area, picking up trees in their yard. We're going to zoom in on that power line completely down. That's a very scary situation. That power line is down in this man's front yard. He is already at it with the debris, working on things here. We've seen roofing companies already in the area. FPL, like I said, Murray Middle has lots of people in the parking lot working to assess the damage there. No one has power that we've talked to in Port Salerno or Rocky Point, dealing with a pretty big power situation here as you see these downed lines. I want to take you, while I have you, let's go this way. David's going to follow me here. If you look past our CBS 12 car, we've got neighbors picking up tree limbs in that yard over there. And also you can see it around that snap tree. They've got some other type of structure or material that's flown into their yard. This is some pretty significant damage for this neighborhood in Port Salerno. Trampolines, trees, power lines, you name it. People walking around just to see if their neighbors are okay. We're keeping an eye on the middle school. I know we had some images that Danielle showed you earlier, but we'll be here assessing the damage with the community here. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Lexi, that seems like a kind of a dangerous situation with that man outside right by those down power lines. You're seeing, though, a lot of down power lines like that in that neighborhood?
Oh, yeah. Cove Road, Southeast 47th Avenue, also in Rocky Point, where we spent the majority of the morning. You can't go a block or two without seeing down power lines. Now, some of the areas that we were in earlier today, they had traffic cones set up by those down power lines. This neighborhood is sincerely lacking that. It is dangerous, like you were saying. That man's operating so close to the power lines. Of course, when you see power lines down in your area, we're not even driving over them. We're not getting near them. That is not something that officials would advise you to do. But yes, through Port Salerno, Rocky Point, Stuart, we have seen many down power lines this morning.
All right, Lexi Cruz giving us the latest there in Port Salerno. A lot of cars on the road there, too,
yeah,
in that
that's
neighborhood.
True. And that's what we're kind of seeing right now is obviously the weather is clearing up, and it is getting to be safer to be out there and looking and helping your neighbors that need it, with just the one caveat. Stay away from those down power lines.
Yeah. All right, let's check in with CBS 12 News reporter Kara Duffy now. She's bringing us the latest from the Avanir community.
Right now we are inside the Avanir community. This is really the first time we've gotten a chance to see what the damage looks like now that the sun has come up, and we got to tell you it is perhaps more extensive than we first thought, especially judging by some of the photos we got in overnight, and then to see it now, it's just very devastating. You can see in the distance behind us here we have crews out trying to start this cleanup process, people making their way out, really trying to get an idea as to just how big of a task this will be, the rebuilding and in the aftermath of this storm. We've also had some local, state, federal leaders out here. Congressman Brian Mast was out here earlier alongside the Palm Beach Gardens mayor, the vice mayor of the county. So certainly a lot of people, and one of the people that we've gotten a chance to meet, this man here, he lives here in the development. Introduce yourself to folks at home.
Sure. I'm Chip Gelb, and not so happy to be speaking to you all, but here we are.
Yeah, I know. It was a very scary night for you. Walk us through a little bit about what you went through here in this community.
Sure. So actually it was around 10 after 5, and I was looking out my back window because, you know, we were warned that a tornado might be on the way, and I could actually see it coming from my bedroom window. And it was honestly, it was like watching the movie Twister. It came closer and it was spinning, and the debris was flying everywhere, landing in the lake behind our house. And I was literally screamed out to my wife, get in the closet, get the dog. And I met her in there, and then we heard it come over the house. but it sort of veered a little because we didn't get that much damage, whereas some of my neighbors weren't as fortunate, and they really a lot of devastation.
Yeah, and you know, just to kind of walk out and see all of this, it truly looks like something out of a movie. I know that sounds cliche to say, but there's no other way to describe it. And I know we have this iconic almost picture for the worst reasons ever, but it is circulating of a dumpster on top of a roof, and you actually know the people that live there. Tell us a little backstory on that.
Actually, they just moved in 6 days ago.
Wow.
Their house is devastated, and to see a several-ton construction dumpster on top of their roof stuck into their house, it's just something out of a nightmare Disney movie. You know, you can't believe what you're seeing.
Absolutely, and it just goes to show just the sheer magnitude of how strong this storm must have been.
Yes, I mean, after it passed our house, I went outside and I said, okay, it was a little tornado. Then a fireman told me it was massive and that the damage elsewhere was just incredible. So.
And before we send it back, a message to people in this community and the surrounding communities who are waking up as far as moving forward here.
Well, I think, look, all of these things can be fixed. You know, obviously the most important thing is that here I didn't hear of anybody getting even injured, which is a miracle in and of itself. So let's all feel blessed, and let's thank our first responders because they've been here. Our Congressman Brian Mast was here. Our mayor was just here, and they have our back. And I think that, you know, we're all fortunate that we have them and a great city behind us. So.
Absolutely. Wonderful message. So thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. And of course, we're going to send it back to you guys at the station. We're going to continue to kind of make our rounds through these neighborhoods, and we will circle back in just a few.
Well, certainly all of our jaws just dropped to the floor.
Yeah, 6 days.
Hearing that story.
Those people lived in that home.
6 days.
And they have a dumpster in their roof.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
terrifying to see.
It does.
Really scary.
And with this type of situation, I mean, the ingredients were all there yesterday for that severe weather threat. The amount of tornado warnings was certainly surprising involved with them. I mean, it was one after another after another. Mm-hmm. We were on air with coverage for 9 hours, and he had said at 5:10, I got the weather alert. I looked out my window, and I knew at that point I had to take cover. But 5:10. We were on air at 9 o'clock in the morning covering these storms, and there were long track tornadoes.
So it was one warning after another after another. We had, I think the total final count's 126 tornado warnings. Now, that doesn't mean there's 126 tornadoes. We might have only had maybe, 7 of them or so in our area, but because they stayed on the ground, hence the term long track, they're tracking in a long way, if you will. The warnings continued to get extended, and so it continues to just add up. But a historic tornado outbreak for Florida from this tropical system.
And it is, and that system was 200 miles away from us when it was producing those tornadoes in the outer band. That's why we tell you, impacts from hurricanes extend well beyond the actual center of the storm or where the track is going necessarily.
Right, and a lot of times when tropical systems come through, I'd say 9.5 out of 10, they're covered in rain. It's moist, it's very humid. They produce significantly heavy downpours over a very widespread area. But what was interesting with Milton was the drier air intrusion that we saw coming in out of the south, which we were expecting. We weren't expecting a ton of rain to be falling over the course of the past couple of days, really mostly when Milton came through, aside from the outer bands. But that's what added to the really intense tornado damage that we saw across parts of our area.
And we actually got the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center. All of the tropical alerts for our local area have now been discontinued. Mm-hmm. And the latest on Milton now, it's a hurricane still maintaining winds of 80 miles per hour. The structure of the storm not very impressive because it is kind of moving into a frontal boundary essentially and will be incorporated into it. But it will continue to move out over open waters. But our wind speeds will drastically improve here over the day today. And by this evening, we're just going to see maybe breezy conditions. But rainfall too is fairly limited as well.
Yeah, maybe just an isolated shower coming on shore later, but because of the fast forward motion of the storm, and it's now moving at 20 miles per hour, that forward speed, it sort of picked that up last night, which is why it made landfall a little earlier, and why our conditions this morning are improving a little bit faster, allowing us to really start that cleanup, especially now that we no longer have any, tropical storm warnings in effect. It's safe for people to now go back outside, look at the damage. Please be careful because, there could still be live wires that are down. You don't know what's inside of puddles. They're gross and they can contain disgusting things. But just be careful, during that cleanup process today.
Yeah. And, by the weekend, we're actually going to see lower humidity too behind the system because of the direction of the wind and the dry air. So temperature-wise, we're going to stay pretty comfortable. And let's talk a little bit more about that. You can see the latest the latest stats on Milton right there as of that 9 o'clock advisory. It has picked up in speed and it's moving now at 20 miles per hour. So a very fast-moving system as it moves away from the East Coast. And it is expected to weaken as it moves into the central Atlantic and away from us. So here's a look right now at Juneau Beach. In fact, we have some sun out there. We have an offshore wind flow, so our wave heights aren't as elevated. We still do have the threat for maybe some rip currents, particularly along the Treasure Coast, just due to that increased wind flow. Now, Milton is moving offshore. Rainfall starting to end now along the I-95 corridor near the Daytona Beach area, and as it intersects with I-4. Just have clouds across central Florida now, that dry air really working its way in. We have a few high-level clouds in the northern Treasure Coast, mostly sunny conditions, though, across southern Palm Beach County. Now, because of those tropical alerts have been discontinued, we still do have a wind advisory in effect for Metro Palm Beach County, just because of some elevated wind speeds that we've been dealing with for this morning. But we now have sustained winds between 20 to 25 miles per hour, and wind gusts as high as maybe 35 miles per hour in the area. So our wind speeds will decrease through the day. We will see an onshore wind flow, though, return by tomorrow, and so that will increase our threat for rip currents across our area beaches and keep our wave heights elevated, too, just because we have a hurricane moving off of the Atlantic coast at this time. So behind Milton, we'll still see some moisture linger in place, so there is the chance for some showers in the area to start off tomorrow morning and kind of continue through the day, too, mostly along our coastline, just because we have enough moisture behind the system in that onshore wind flow. So we'll look at that 10-day forecast. Keeps temperatures actually near our normal for this time of the year in the low to mid 80s each day. Overnight lows still a touch on the warm side in the mid 70s, but a rain chance will return into next week.
All right, Jen, thank you. Let's continue our coverage now with Charlotte Carl. She is bringing us the latest from Fort Pierce.
Yeah, guys, I'm out here at Lakewood Park Church, just outside of the Lakewood Park neighborhood in unincorporated St. Lucie County. And we just got here, and there is one giant pine tree down, and it looks like another branch from the pine tree just next to it was lofted up into this car right behind me here. And a few other large oak trees were uprooted in the parking lot. This is one of the things that we were concerned about, especially in St. Lucie County with all of the rain that they had seen over the past week, and that just leaves the roots a little more susceptible to being ripped out of the ground. As for the damage to the church, there's a few windows that are blown out. They even tried to shutter them to prepare for the hurricane warning that they had in St. Lucie County. Only one part of the stained glass window at the front of the church was broken. There's a little bit of roof damage on this side of the church, but on the other side of the church there was a little bit more roof damage. We talked to a few parishioners in addition to the pastor, none of whom wanted to go on camera, but they all told us they are very grateful that everyone is safe. Things can be replaced, but lives cannot, and their thoughts are with anyone that did experience any loss or injury as a result of these tornadoes. They didn't say they heard the tornadoes rolling through, but they received the warnings and took them seriously, which is always good to hear. Back to y'all.
All right, Charlotte, thank you. We've also been checking with Stephanie Valderrama. She's been covering this West Wellington. All the images there have been really heartbreaking.
Yeah, let's check in with her now. Steph, are you seeing anything new out there, talking to anyone new at this hour?
Yeah, so we are still at the same location at Meadow Woods neighborhood that we were earlier. Just after we had tossed it back to you, we did see the PBSO chopper flying around here. It's possible that that was Sheriff Bradshaw in the chopper during a press conference earlier. He did say that he did intend to take the chopper so he could get a bird's eye view of the damage here in Wellington, really see what is, we're seeing on the ground just from a different perspective. And this is what we're seeing here. Homes, a lot of downed trees near homes in this area. So the home behind this one that I'm looking at right here, earlier this morning I showed you that there was a window that was blown out. These families, though, are working very fast to try to clean up the debris and clean up, the mess these tornadoes left behind. They already put up a, wood panel to cover, let me get out of the way of these cars, to cover that window that was blown out. Trees down in this whole neighborhood, though. Even this gate here I showed you guys earlier, it got ripped out of the ground and then by the tree that was right behind it, and then that tree smashed into so much of these people's backyard. Just really heartbreaking to see. But even with all of this damage, Sheriff Bradshaw said in his press conference earlier that as far as he knows, there is no fatalities, but that they did treat some people here in Palm Beach County for injuries. Now, the extent of those injuries, we are not really sure at this hour. I'm sure in the days to come, we will learn from officials, how those people are doing today. He also mentioned that he does not intend to enact any sort of curfew in this area. I want to check back with officials here in Wellington to see what the power outage situation is, because as of 5 o'clock this morning, they had 30% of people in this area without power, which is a little more than 8,000 customers. And we know the FPL was working really hard to try to get, power back to these customers. In fact, when we were out driving around earlier, some of those street lights that were out were finally back online. So a good sign that things are progressing, the way that they should. But that's really the next big step, is getting electricity back to the people that lost electricity. I'm told that it's because of those downed trees that came crashing on those power lines. So really, as soon as they could get those trees off of those power lines, they can get electricity back to these families. Like I said, that's sort of the next step. And then, of course, we're going to continue the cleanup here. It's not going to be done today. It might not be done over the weekend. I mean, some homes have more damage than others, but that's where we are here in Wellington. We're hoping to go to one other location that I did check out earlier this morning. Very loud chopper behind me here. Hopefully you can still hear me. But yeah, it was a house that I'm not sure if you probably do remember the one with the gutters that just ripped, right off the house. It was on the ground. So we're going to go check that one out, see what things look like there at this hour. But for now, we'll send it back to you.
All right, so I know it's loud out there, but we can hear you just fine. Certainly it is going to take some time to clean up that damage, to get power back on in these communities. Everyone anxious to get back to normal. I do want to check in with Danielle DeRoche. She's got some updates. Danielle, I think we're hearing some news from PBI at this hour.
Yeah, a little bit of good news here, Sam. PBI posting on social media just moments ago that they are planning to resume flights and open back up. They say this should happen as soon as 1 p.m. today. So they say flight operations at PBI should resume today at 1 p.m. for arriving flights. So if you are hoping to get out of PBI today, or if you were expecting somebody to fly in, hopefully airport operations start to pick up and get back on track very soon out of Palm Beach International. Also want to check in here with Florida Power and Light. They say that we know that this storm has been life-altering for many customers, and they know how difficult it is right now without power. As we've been reporting, 3.3 million customers across the state have lost power due to this storm. They say they've already restored power to nearly 500,000 customers, and assessment teams are out fanning the state right now. They shared this video here showing their crews mobilizing, and they are promising to do this as quickly as possible, but they have to keep safety in mind as they start to head out and do that very important work. And we obviously thank our linemen who are here and working so hard to get everybody back with power. Also want to show you this, Pasco Sheriff talking about their water rescues that are underway right now, sharing some of these images here where you see a sheriff's deputy carrying in his arms a small child and a pet from a family that they have rescued. We're also seeing several first responders wading through the water here, and that is somebody in a boat trying to perform water rescues in Pasco County. Another image here of a roadway completely covered in water there, and this is also a member of the sheriff's office there in Pasco County, just surveying the neighborhood that is now appearing to be somewhat underwater there. Sam.
All right, Danielle, thank you. We want to take a live look here in Juno Beach at the pier before we head to break. We want to remind you, as you're surveying the damage in your neighborhood or anything going on in your community, you can share photos and videos with us by chiming in. You can scan the QR code that you see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen right now. You can also head to our website, and we might just share them here on CBS 12 News. And stick with us. We'll be back right after this break. Welcome back.
Oh, sorry.
Welcome back to CBS 12 News. I've got Danielle joining me here at the desk for a little bit. Matt taking a much needed break as we continue to track Milton and what we're seeing across our area today.
Yeah, we want to get back over now to meteorologist Jennifer Collins, letting us know how conditions are looking in the area right now.
Yeah, along our coastline, it's not too bad. In fact, we see some sun in the area across southern Palm Beach County. Our wind has certainly decreased through the morning, but you can see on our Juno Beach camera, the surfers are trying to take advantage of the kind of improved conditions in the area. But we do have an offshore wind flow, so our wave heights aren't as elevated. Now, wave heights will remain high offshore across our offshore waters because we do have a hurricane moving into the Atlantic. But heading into the weekend, an onshore wind flow will develop, and that will keep our wave heights elevated, but improve our conditions through the weekend. We do have the threat for rip currents, though, anytime we have an east wind flow. So you can see here, Hurricane Milton, the latest advisory that was issued at 11 o'clock. It is now moving into the Atlantic, kind of interacting with wind shear. It's not looking very good on satellite imagery. It doesn't have that defined hurricane structure, but it still has some higher wind speeds, and it's still tropical in nature. So it's remaining as a hurricane, expected to become a general low pressure area here over the next day before moving into the central Atlantic by the weekend. Tropical storm alerts have been discontinued across the area. We do have a tropical storm warning still in effect for Lake Okeechobee. We still have some stronger wind gusts in that general area. And then a wind advisory is in effect for the Treasure Coast, Okeechobee County, and Metro Palm Beach County, as we have a northwest wind flow between 20 to 30 miles per hour, but gusts could still be over 40 miles per hour. Overall wind speed will decrease through the day today. By this evening and tonight, we're dropping our wind speeds to maybe 5 to 15 miles per hour with gusts up to 20 miles per hour, overnight and into tomorrow morning. And then that onshore wind flow returns for your Friday, and that will push a few showers onto our coastline to start off the day. I want to take a look at our current wind speeds, though. We still have wind speeds ranging between 15 to 20 miles per hour, 1 to 25 miles per hour in the Vero Beach area, gust up to about 37 miles per hour in Vero Beach, and 35 miles per hour still in the West Palm Beach area. So your hour-by-hour forecast keeps us mainly sunny for the day. A few passing clouds, mainly in the high levels, mid to high levels of the atmosphere. And so it'll look a little, you'll look into the sky and you'll see that the clouds are there, but overall we're seeing a peak of sun here and there into the second half of the day. By this evening, again, adjusting our wind direction. So with an onshore wind flow returning for Friday, this will push a few showers onto our coastline because we do have lingering moisture behind Milton. So anytime we have that east wind flow and enough moisture along our coastal communities, we could see the chance for some showers. And that will be the trend for tomorrow, with improving conditions heading into the weekend once again. A few scattered showers are still in the forecast, though, Saturday and into Sunday. Our temperatures will actually feel fairly comfortable. We do have lower humidity than what we were dealing with last week. In fact, our humidity levels will help us remain relatively dry, but also keep our temperatures down, with afternoon highs in the low 80s each day. Our normal high for this time of year sits right around 86 degrees. So we're going to stay in the low 80s through the start of next week, with a chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
All right, Jen, thank you. We continue our coverage now with CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz. She is in Port Salerno, not far from Murray Middle School, where we saw some images of some significant damage. Lexi, last time we checked in with you in this area, there were a lot of down power lines. What are you seeing out there right now?
Well, Sam, we are on Southeast 47th Avenue in Port Salerno. Like you said, right down the street from Murray Middle Schools. A woman who drove by actually told us that part of the roof that they're missing ended up in her backyard. It is just insane how powerful these storms are, that they can quite literally lift structures and place them down the road. So we still have these down power lines that we're dealing with here, like we were telling you. We spoke to residents who say they haven't had power since about 4 p.m. on Wednesday. But let me draw your attention to this debris pile, just kind of showing the metal and the trees that have been mangled in this storm. As we pan out from that, I'm going to draw your attention to this roof here. This roof completely uplifted through the storm, and we're actually going to bring in the homeowner now. We have Dwight with us. He owns this home with the roof. Okay, so you just put this roof up how long ago?
Maybe about 2 months ago it was completed. Matter of fact, I still owe some money on it.
You still, yeah. So, well, we still owe some money on it. Now it's been lifted off of the house. Just tell me what you went through yesterday as we're on live TV.
Okay, well, yesterday afternoon I was sitting in the living room, the den, right under where the roof is gone now, and just watching the news, looking at the weather, looking at the tornado warnings and stuff like that. And then it was within a wink of an eye, I just heard a loud bang on the side of the room on the outside, and I said, no, this is serious. I don't know what it was, but I just ran to the bathroom, but I did not make it. Fell. Yes, I fell, and the roof was gone within like 2 or 3 seconds. And I pulled myself to the bathroom, hoping that was the safe area. When I got there was no roof.
Well, we're so glad you're safe. And you described off camera to me that this is an unreal experience for you. Cleanup hasn't even begun. What are you going to do today as you assess the damage to your home?
Well, I'm just trying to, do things in a methodical way. First things, call the insurance company, trying to get a tarpaulin to cover the roof, stuff like that. I'm looking for important documents and trying to get things in place. And then take it one day at a time. If you think about all the steps you need to make at this point, then I'm going to go crazy, one step at a time. But the good thing is, no life lost, so we can rebuild.
Absolutely. That's great philosophy. Thanks so much, Dwight, for joining us. We're going to give you one last look at the power line situation. And we're seeing some traffic through this neighborhood as people drive by and assess the damage to their neighbors' homes. We're seeing a lot of power poles and lines, like you mentioned, trees, structures, roofs. We saw a trampoline down the street. So a lot of cleanup certainly to be done in this neighborhood. Danielle, Sam?
Lexi, I want to go back to something that you started with. I think you said that a piece of a roof from the nearby school had landed in somebody's yard. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a woman driving by. She told me that she lives a couple streets over. We have Murray Middle School right to the right of me here, right next to us. We haven't been able to get on that property as officials are assessing the damage there. But she claimed that from the pictures the Martin County schools shared, that part of that roof and awning that was missing ended up in her neighborhood. So again, speaking to how powerful those tornadoes were yesterday in this Port Salerno area.
Think about how powerful those winds must have been.
I know, to pick it up and take it all the way down the street. I don't know exactly how far she is there from Murray Middle School, but that's a significant distance. And this is video that we have showing the aftermath of tornado in St. Lucie County. It destroyed a 10,000-foot sheriff's facility. You can see it here, that structure, sort of a hangar there housing vehicles and a boat, but it just completely collapsed on top of those vehicles. Here's what the St. Lucie County Communications Director Eric Gill had to say this morning about the damage.
As of this morning, the medical examiner has confirmed that there were 4 deaths as of yesterday's tornadoes that rolled through our county from Hurricane Milton. Crews are still out today doing additional damage assessment and rescue and recovery in some neighborhoods. We had at least 2 confirmed tornadoes touch down yesterday between 4 and 6 o'clock. There have been reports as many as a dozen tornadoes, but we will need to wait for confirmation from the National Weather Service on that in the next day or two. But we know within about a 2-hour period, we had over 900 calls to our Emergency Operations Center regarding the tornado activity that was happening.
St. Lucie County hit so incredibly hard from all of this, and that's, of course, where we know 4 fatalities are confirmed. So that was the PIO from St. Lucie County who spoke to us earlier about the fatalities there. We're also seeing significant damage in Palm Beach County, where we do have an update now from Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw about the aftermath that we're seeing in communities like Wellington. Let's listen to him.
Yeah, we're out here in Wellington. I came out here. I'm going to survey the damage. The helicopter just landed a block over. I want to get in it so I can see the whole area. All right, but basically, our goal is to make sure that we keep everybody safe and secure out here. Wellington seems to be the hardest area hit, so all of our Western region deputies are going to go on 12-hour shifts, so I know I got enough to protect the neighborhoods. We really don't need a curfew because it's not county-wide, right? We can protect the people out here with the deputies that we need. So, you know, we're helping people get to where they need to go. Traffic lights are out. We're directing traffic there. We're helping any services, emergency services, get in and out of the neighborhoods, helping get debris off the ground. But we've got enough deputies out here to do what we need to do. Now, I just talked to the Martin County Sheriff. They got hit really bad. Right, so I may send some deputies up there to help him. But out here, we got plenty of deputies to do what we need to do, secure it so the bad guys can't come in here and start looting. So we'll be here with a full force.
That was my question, Sheriff.
Yeah.
You know, some of the homeowners that experience this extensive damage, in addition to now being worried about their homes, now the security. So as far as that, you're saying you're going to have people around the clock?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't have to worry about security. We're going to have enough deputies out here. They'll be high profile going up and down the streets 24 hours a day until they get themselves back where they need to be. So they don't have to worry about that.
What's the plan after you tour everything? What is the...
Well, as soon as I get a really good handle on the assessment, I'll just want to check to see what our deployment is. And then if I need additional people out here, I can get additional people out here. But for me to make that decision on deployment, I got to see exactly how spread out it is and where the more severe damage is. And by doing an aerial view, it's a lot easier.
So yesterday we heard that there were a couple of injuries in the county. Do you want to get an update on that? Do we have any updates on fatalities possibly?
Okay, we don't have any fatalities. We're really fortunate about that. We have some people that were injured, but they're not life-threatening injuries. Unfortunately, I think there was a horse that was killed when a barn fell on it. Very unfortunate. But all in all, we're very, very lucky that nobody got severely injured. So those people got taken to the hospital. I'm sure they're going to be treated and released. But right now, no fatalities, no really life-threatening injuries.
What's your message to the public right now?
The message to the public is we're going to take care of you. We're going to keep you safe. Do what you need to do to get your family back to where you need to be. There's emergency services coming in. The county's going to help out with also. So they just need to feel free to do what they need to do without worrying about their security. We're going to be there to help them. We'll take care of their needs. We'll get them back and forth where they need to go through the stoplights and everything that aren't working. But just realize we're here for you.
And I know you haven't obviously gone up in the helicopter yet and seen everything from above, but I'm sure you've seen images and videos and all of that. From what you've seen in the videos and images coming out in the news, what's your initial reaction?
Well, look, I've lived here all my life. I've never seen anything like this. Never that many, one after the other. Right? Once in a while, you might have a yard torn up with trees, but this is pretty severe. This is severe damage that could have been a heck of a lot worse than it was as far as loss of life, but it's still something that I've never seen, and there's a lot of damage. Well, the next couple of days is trying to get back to normal. I think that most of the power is back on. I think there's 5,000 or 6,000 that may not have it. So once they get the power back on and people understand the debris they have to clear and whatever structural damage they have, if they can make the house inhabitable again. But it's all about recovery right now. But we just want to make the recovery as smooth and as easy as we can make it.
I know you mentioned that you spoke to the Martin County.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to any of the other counties? I believe St. Lucie also had one of their operations just wiped off the land.
Yeah, they had one of their facilities damaged pretty bad. I haven't been able to get a hold of him yet. I know Martin County got hit really bad, so we're going to be available to help them. I was going to send some deputies up to the West Coast, but I'm holding them back, and we'll do what we need to do with the counties that are next to us.
That was Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw giving an update in the aftermath of Milton. You heard him say there, thankfully in Palm Beach County, there were no fatalities from this storm and no life-threatening injuries. There were some people who were injured, but they are expected to be okay. So his deputies are out helping, people in these neighborhoods, specifically in Wellington, that was really hit hard with their cleanup process and just making sure that they are safe and secure and that they're not worrying about their security while also worrying about their homes.
And the sheriff has so much perspective. He's been doing this for so long. He knows this community inside and out, and he said it. He's never seen anything like this.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Let's show you some more video now from Tropicana Field in Tampa this morning. This is drone video giving us a view from above. We've been showing you this from different angles all morning long. Tropicana Field here, where they set up, a base camp for the linemen coming here to Florida to respond to this storm, and the roof was completely torn off of that stadium. Thankfully, no one was injured here, but pretty remarkable to see what the power of this storm, what it was able to do there.
And we can also show you a look inside of the stadium when that roof came off. You see that American flag up top blowing in the wind. Dangerous conditions out there to do this kind of damage, and also to have wind blowing inside the stadium there. But again, thankfully, no National Guard troops, no other emergency responders were sheltering in place at the time. The governor's spokesperson actually went out on social media letting people know that they had made the decision to shelter somewhere else at the time of the landfall. So that was obviously a very good decision.
Yeah, it's like they knew that that might happen. So that's a good thing that they made that move. With the sun coming up, we're getting a new look at the damage that the storm surge left behind in Punta Gorda. You can see, sludged there in the street signs down, debris, tree limbs there. That's kind of the scene right now there in Punta Gorda on the other coast, again, where they saw some significant storm surge.
All right, let's check back in with our Stephanie Valderrama. She's been on the ground in Wellington for us all morning long, bringing us some really incredible images. Stephanie, what are you seeing right now?
Yes. Hey, Danielle and Sam. Yeah, so I'm about 50 yards from where I was earlier, still in this Meadow Woods neighborhood. I actually spoke to a neighbor off camera, understandably not wanting to go on camera. I mean, they're left picking up the pieces of what is left of their neighborhood. But she tells me it took her, this tornado, 3 to 4 minutes to literally change her whole life. And this is why. This is not her home, but this is a home in this neighborhood. I tried to show you guys this at about 2 o'clock this morning, but there was no electricity, understandably, on this home because of the extensive damage. I mean, part of the roof is obviously exposed and gone. We have no idea what the damage inside the home looks like. I mean, the palm tree in front of the house gone as well. The house behind this, one of the windows behind this, just blown out. And of course, we've seen just extensive debris in this area. Just absolutely heartbreaking for these homeowners here. I don't believe that they're home at this time. It seems like other neighbors in this area, in fact, the one across the street, did take those extra precautions. They put up their shutters, even across the street, which was the home with all of the gutters that were ripped off. Shelb, can we pan to that over here? They took also precautions to, you know, prepare and protect their home. And you can do all you can do, but then something like this happens unexpectedly. Now the house next door, a lot of debris down in that area. As you can see, they brought in people with equipment that could get the job done quickly. They've been moving trees and it almost seems like the gate as well, sort of cleaning all of that up. Obviously, that cleanup is not going to be an easy thing, and it's going to take that kind of equipment to clean up some of this area. It's not going to be an easy job, not something that, you know, a homeowner, even with the help of neighbors, might be able to do. It's going to take a big equipment like this to get the job done. But just absolutely heartbreaking to hear from that woman who understandably did not want to go on camera, saying that in 3 to 4 minutes, her entire life was changed. I mean, she saw those tornadoes just rip through here, and it was like a bomb went off in her house. She was screaming, scared, and now left to pick up the pieces here in Wellington. Danielle, Sam?
Certainly a lot of people in our area are feeling that way after what happened yesterday. Our Kara Duffy has been live for us, all morning in different areas, the acreage, Avanir. She's in Avanir right now. Kara, what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, just a lot of devastation. It has been really upsetting now that we are finally inside this development here and getting a look now that the sun has come up. Just so much devastation. Now, right now we are here along the Regency neighborhood. Keep in mind, this is a large development, a rather new development here, hundreds and hundreds of houses. And this is part of a 55+ community on this road here. And that is one of the ones that was hit very, very hard. I'm joined right now by Martin Williams. He is one of the neighbors that lives along here. And Martin, your house is the first one on this street. Walk us through what it's been like for you the past 12, 15 hours out here.
Well, it's a lot of devastation for sure. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured here in our development here at Regency and Avanir. The first thing I would like to say is that the rescue unit and the police department were outstanding. The rescue service in the Florida were outstanding. They were here promptly. They checked on us. The public service, Power and Light Company, they were outstanding also. So I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledge them with the great work that they did. And the neighbors they all kind of stuck together when when chips were down, and we all kind of looked after one another. But it was serious devastation here. A lot of homes were severely destroyed, and a lot of damage. But when you live in Florida, you have to kind of take the risk and the major thing that no one was hurt, no one was injured. We had no fatalities.
Absolutely, and it's pretty unbelievable to see. I mean, it hasn't even been 24 hours yet, and we already see crews out here, contractors, plywood being brought over. It really is already an all hands on deck, and you can really tell a lot of the camaraderie between the neighbors. It is really beautiful to see everyone kind of coming together and checking on each other. As far as the damage here, I know you know, perhaps to make it even worse when it comes to this, a lot of these people are newly moving in. I mean, this is new construction here. As far as kind of the vibe of the development and the damage, what can you tell us about that?
Oh, absolutely. You have to understand that this is a new development. A lot of people just basically moved in and spent a lot of time and effort to get their houses up, and for it to all be destroyed in like one day is heartbreaking. But that's what we're dealing with right now, and it's going to be a 400 unit development when it's all said and done. But you have a lot of people here who just got started, and now everything is gone and they have to start from scratch again. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Getting people situated, getting rescue units to come in, to clean up units to come in and clean up the devastation, and people are going to have to start building their lives back up again from when they first started. So that's what we're in the process of doing right now. So far everything is going okay, on schedule. We're just glad that the weather has held up. No rain. We have a lot of wind, but for the most part, the weather has held up so we can get a lot of stuff done without more devastation with the rain.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Martin, for sharing your story with us. And of course, we will be keeping you all in our thoughts and prayers as you rebuild out here. And of course, Matt, Sam, this is just one of many stories that people in this community have shared with us, not only here, but really all across Palm Beach County. And what I can tell you is it's been a long morning so far, certainly even longer for the people who had to sit through that and be through that. But they certainly have a positive outlook and are already rebuilding. They're already hard at work out here. So
I'd like to thank News 12 also for coming out and interviewing a lot of the residents here.
Well, thank you.
Guys taking time to share what's going on with the public, so let them know that we're here and we're surviving.
Of course, we're happy to be there for you, Martin. Okay, we're going to send it back to you guys back in the station.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Martin.
So many kind and gracious people, all things considered.
Yeah, and that's what we've been hearing all morning long. People doing what they can to just stay in good spirits, given all of the devastation surrounding them. I was just thinking, it was only 24 hours ago we were in the middle of that long stretch of tornado warnings and tornado sightings, and just one after the other. 24 hours later, we are still only starting to see the scale of the damage.
9 hours, I think, Jen, right? Is that what it was? We were on air for 9 hours tracking these warnings.
Yeah, 9 hours. You know, it covered 2 weather teams here on our end in order to get the job done. But we had no breaks. It was tornado warning after tornado warning, and they were coming in, and the signatures on radar were just so impressive with every single thunderstorm that developed, a severe thunderstorm that developed, that it was very difficult to prioritize one or the other, but we tried to get the information out there as much as we could as those tornado warnings were being issued. Now, there was a lot of ingredients that went into why Milton produced those tornadoes. Not typical for tropical tornadoes to be quite widespread and quite destructive, but it was because we saw a favorable environment for it. Now, here's Milton as it made landfall. It made landfall along the west coast of Florida near Siesta Key, just south of the Tampa area. It kind of avoided the worst case scenario for the Tampa area with that southern landfall, but they did see very strong winds along the northern edge of that system and torrential rainfall, including flooding conditions across the peninsula of Pinellas County. And then further to the south, because of the onshore wind flow along the southern edge of the system, it actually produced a storm surge across the southwest coast of Florida from the Port Charlotte area down south into the Fort Myers area. So it made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour, but the impacts were felt well away from the actual center of the storm, where those those strongest wind gusts are. This outer band developed, multiple cells developed along that outer band, and that's why we saw that severe weather threat. We had the heating of the day because we saw some sun in the morning, and then we also had the sheer environment associated with a hurricane, and we had the moisture involved too, and that all of that just provided the fuel for these individual cells to develop, and they were long track tornadoes. They came on the ground and they traveled for quite a bit of time through county and county. We had one tornado warning, one tornado we were watching that moved over Alligator Alley that we caught on camera, and then it moved into Palm Beach County, into the lake, and then into Okeechobee County. So this was a situation where we were just having so many tornadoes issued, so many tornadoes produced at the same time, and so many tornado warnings too. We had 126 tornado warnings issued across South Florida. So here, across South and Central Florida. So here's a look at Hurricane Milton now. It has been disrupted by wind shear, so it has lost its structure, but it's also being picked up. It's also being influenced by dry air, so we don't have much rainfall along the southwest portion of the system. So all of showers and storms are kind of to the west of to the east of the center of circulation of Milton, and it will weaken through the day and become just a regular low pressure system as it moves into the central Atlantic by this weekend, avoiding us for now, avoiding us after bringing us devastation here in our local area. But locally, all of our alerts have been discontinued when it comes to tropical alerts. We still have tropical storm warning for our coastal waters along the Treasure Coast. We have a small craft advisory now issued for offshore waters off Palm Beach County. A rip current statement is in effect too, because we have the threat for rip currents, and a high surf advisory along the Indian River County coast, and a small craft advisory for Lake Okeechobee. You can see the surf is up. A few surfers at this Jensen Beach camera are trying to take advantage of some of the wave heights along the Treasure Coast right now. And we have a blue sky overhead. In fact, because of the dry air behind Milton, it's allowing mostly sunny conditions to develop across our area. We have a few high-level clouds in the region, and then some outer bands are still disrupting parts of the I-95 corridor. That's kind of near the Melbourne area there in northern Brevard County. Storm track radar right now, just tracking some clouds, no rain on radar at this time. Your wind advisory is still in effect for the Treasure Coast, Okeechobee, and Metro Palm Beach County. Again, we don't have any tropical alerts anymore, but we still could see some stronger wind gusts in our area, ranging anywhere between 40 to 45 miles per hour. Winds are sustained currently anywhere between 20 to 25 miles per hour, so they have come down within the past hour. Still have a wind gust in the 30s, a 35 mile per hour wind gust in West Palm Beach, and a 32 mile per hour wind gust there in Boca. Now, staying breezy through the afternoon, winds sustained maybe 15 to 25 miles per hour. Could see some stronger gusts, but by the evening, we're just breezy with winds shifting from the north to the northeast heading into tomorrow, and that will bring in the chance for some showers into our area. Behind Milton, we still have some moisture in place. Pair that with the east-northeast wind, and that means showers to start off the day on Friday, and that will linger into the afternoon too, kind of scattered in nature, but mainly pinned along our coastlines, so that will come to play for tomorrow. By the weekend, we're still tracking these scattered showers. We will have lower humidity levels too because of the drier air filtering in behind Milton. So our humidity is lower, our temperatures in the low 80s, not feeling quite hot or humid. By next week, the humidity will return, and we'll see the chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms.
All right, Jen, thank you. Taking a live look right now at Jensen Beach. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. We continue to track Milton. I'm back. Danielle's going to be joining me in a second. But let's get out to CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz. She is in Rocky Point there. Actually, she's moved slightly from Rocky Point now. She looks like she is at the middle school in Port Salerno. Lexi, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, Matt, I'm on the backside of Murray Middle School. The campus not accessible because there are many crews assessing the damage from Martin County schools. I'll go ahead and step out of the frame as we show you some of the structural damage that we are seeing to this campus. We're seeing parts of the roof torn up for sure. There are people cleaning up debris on the other side of the fence. Now, on our side of the fence, we're looking at neighbors cleaning up their properties. You can see trees uprooted. There's also looks like items from their house, boxes. We got a little dog running out around here. They're just picking up the pieces after tornadoes ripped through this area. Like Matt said, I'm in Port Salerno, right next to Murray Middle School. This is the backside of the campus. Let's go ahead and, we'll pan over this way just to show you more of the structural damage we're seeing. Now, Martin County Schools went on their Facebook page to let everybody know that throughout the next few days and weeks, Martin County School District will be going on different campuses to assess the damage. This, of course, their campus here in Port Salerno at Murray Middle School sustaining significant damage. They said that safety remains their top priority across all schools. So we're not sure about when this campus is expected to reopen. We're not sure about schools for these students for the next coming days and coming weeks. A lot of things. We're going to go ahead and zoom in right here. You see that there's two men right there dragging a piece of a structure across the lawn. This is just the backside of the campus. We're not able to get onto school property, but we know some roofs have been ripped off. We know the band room was completely destroyed. I'm sure that they'll need a lot of fundraising. They'll need a lot of help with being able to put this school kind of back together. Roofs ripped off, debris in the yard, cleanup only just beginning at Murray Middle School here in Port Salerno. We'll go ahead and send it back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Lexi, thank you. And it's so hard for the kids or to have your school year interrupted. That whole school district's going to figure out where they're going to have to send these kids in the meantime while everything gets fixed. You really feel for that community.
Yeah, and one thing that I think about is that our schools are built to be so strong and to withstand severe weather. So you think about the kind of severe weather we had yesterday to do that much damage. And some of the videos and the photos from that particular school, you really do see that there were kids just in there. I mean, they left their instruments there in the band room, and they were all strewn about after the damage.
I mean, unbelievable images there of just drums and all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Certainly the cleanup starts there, and all schools in Martin County are going to be closed tomorrow as everyone kind of gets all hands on deck to try to figure out what to do at Murray Middle School. Yeah,
and we don't really know what the other districts are planning to do yet.
Right.
A lot of them said they hope to open by Friday, so we're still waiting to get some updates.
Right. Well, one thing they've all got to do, one of the good things is that there's no storm, there's no weather alerts right now. So all the school districts can get out and check to make sure all the schools are safe, which is what they always, have to do before they're allowed to open up the schools again. They should have enough time here this afternoon to make sure that the schools are safe to go back.
Yeah, we'll be looking for their updates and, of course, bring them to you as soon as we have them.
Yeah.
I think now we're going to head to weather?
Yes, let's go over to Jen and Lauren now.
Yeah, so all the alerts, like Matt had mentioned, lifted across the area. No more severe, obviously no severe threat anymore for today. No tropical storm warnings in effect for any of our counties. Some of the offshore waters still have some alerts in place. It's still a little choppy outside. But we've been looking at some of our live cams this morning, and there's surfers enjoying some of the waves out there in Juneau Beach.
Yeah, I mean, they have pretty good conditions, I have to say. The wind is offshore, so they don't have to deal with any rougher conditions, and they do have swell too, so they can use that. But it was a totally different case of just 24 hours ago when we were tracking, all of the severe thunderstorms in our area producing tornadoes. And even overnight, our winds were, we had our winds at gusty conditions overnight, and significantly improved through this morning. And even rainfall too. We haven't had very much rainfall across the area, and really most of the rain was to the north side of Milton.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that we added to that such intense severe threat. We were in that enhanced risk yesterday, a 3 on a 1 to 5. And when you have that, you tend to have a threat for some of those long track tornadoes, which is exactly what we saw throughout the day yesterday. We've been saying we had, over 100 tornado warnings in the area, but that doesn't mean 100 tornadoes. There could have only been maybe 9 tornadoes total across our area. However, they were on the ground for so long that we're going to, the Weather Service offices continue to issue tornadoes out ahead of where they're going.
Exactly, and that was great advance warning for a lot of people, because in these cases, when they're long track tornadoes, we know exactly where they're going to head next too. So you can give them that fair warning. But just the fact that we even were able to have them on camera because we didn't have any rain in the area, just the fact that we could see them visually, because most of the time tropical tornadoes are rain wrapped.
Yeah, and you can't see them, and they tend to be very weak and not these giant wedge tornadoes like we saw. I mean, we were able to catch some on air going across Alligator Alley down in Broward, and then they moved up into our area and all the way up towards the northern end of Lake Okeechobee.
Yes.
So really, it was quite incredible of an afternoon yesterday.
Yeah, and most of the tornado warnings were mainly for the southern central portion and just north of Lake Okeechobee, south into the Alligator Alley region. And none were really located north of the center of circulation of Milton as it crossed, as it was moving north of the center of circulation where the outer bands were moving.
Right.
During that time. So just a very interesting setup.
That happens to be where we are. It's most of the warnings, they didn't go beyond St. Lucie or Indian River County.
Yep.
They kind of stopped right there, like you mentioned, and that's why we ended up with so much damage, like our reporters have been showing all morning.
And really, the storm itself has just, the structure of it is not very impressive on radar, on satellite imagery, excuse me. We're taking a look at infrared satellite imagery. And right now, it's still a hurricane, still maintaining its status as a hurricane, but it will become a low pressure area with non-tropical characteristics here over the next day before it moves into the central Atlantic. I want to talk a second about rainfall totals across the state. Very significant rainfall totals across the just north of the I-4 corridor. We saw rainfall extending from the Tampa Bay area all the way to the east coast of Florida, and the small sliver, none really in South Florida, very limited rainfall in South Florida. We did see some significant rainfall in coastal Indian River County, where we saw about 7 inches of rain in one spot on our radar estimated rainfall totals. But I want you to notice, see that yellow color? That indicates very dry air. Milton is right here. So that dry air is finally swept across the entire Florida peninsula. This means we're starting to dry out. We're really reducing our rain chances across the state. In fact, just a few showers lingering around Cape Canaveral and I-95 there in parts of Brevard and Lucie County. But really the rest of the area just seeing some high-level clouds at this time, and even some sun across South Florida too. Now again, the wind field of Milton will move offshore as Milton does, and our wind gust will really decrease across the state of Florida. The strongest winds again will remain off into the Atlantic, as our winds will be sustained here anywhere between 15 to 25 miles per hour, with some gust up into the 30-mile-per-hour range. Tropical storm warning is in effect just for our offshore waters along the Treasure Coast. Still have hurricane warnings in effect for the offshore waters of the northeastern coast of Florida, and then tropical storm warning still in effect for portions of the East Coast. Wind speeds right now ranging anywhere between 15 to 25 miles per hour. Top wind speed there in wind gusts there in Vero Beach at 37 miles per hour. And as we head through the day, our wind conditions will improve. I'll bring this back to about the mid-afternoon time frame. So again, some of our gusty conditions along the coastline, but then we'll return to more breezy conditions later on this evening. Matt and Danielle.
Okay, thank you very much, Jen. Let's see some video here coming in from the damage in Fort Myers here. You can see there's a home that certainly seems like there's some damage there. Lots of debris piled up on the sides of the road.
Not what you want to see in Fort Myers. That area has been hit so hard in the last few years from hurricanes, and here they go again. Unfortunately, they know this rebuilding process all too well, and we are seeing a lot of debris piled up in Fort Myers this morning. We have not heard about fatalities.
Right. So also I want to show you closed circuit footage showing floodwater here reaching the top of a restaurant staircase. This is a video from Fresh Catch Bistro. That's right along the beach there. According to their Facebook page, they lost their building during Hurricane Ian. That was 2 years ago. Then they reopened again, and now look, they're underwater. The owners say they're going to reopen no matter what.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's resilience. We can also show you some video out of Orange County, the fire rescue there, conducting water rescues overnight. You see how high that water is? Yeah. It's almost up to their waist. Crews checked every house in that area to help people that were affected by the flooding. They're very thankful for their hard work overnight.
And a driver was lucky to be uninjured after a large tree branch fell on his car. Watch this. This happened in Lucie County, right in front.
Close call.
Yeah. Pictures showed the branch broke the windshield and caused and crushed the passenger side.
Wow. Well, I mean, of course, an example of why you don't want to be out in a storm like that, because that could so easily happen in those strong winds we got.
Absolutely. All right, we got our Cara Duffy is out giving us our latest update. Let's go to her now.
Right now we are inside the Avanir community. This is really the first time we've gotten a chance to see what the damage looks like now that the sun has come up, and we got to tell you, it is perhaps more extensive than we first thought, especially judging by some of the photos we got in overnight, and then to see it now, it's just very devastating. You can see in the distance behind us here, we have crews out trying to start this cleanup process, people making their way out, really trying to get an idea as to just how big of a task this will be, the rebuilding and in the aftermath of this storm. We've also had some local, state, federal leaders out here. Congressman Brian Mast was out here earlier alongside the Palm Beach Gardens mayor, the vice mayor of the county. So certainly a lot of people. And one of the people that we've gotten a chance to meet, this man here, he lives here in the development. Introduce yourself to folks at home.
Sure. I'm Chip Gelb, and not so happy to be speaking to you all, but here we are.
Yeah, I know. It was a very scary night for you. Walk us through a little bit about what you went through here in this community.
Sure. So actually it was around 10 after 5, and I was looking out my back window because, you know, we were warned that a tornado might be on the way, and I could actually see it coming from my bedroom window. And it was honestly, it was like watching the movie Twister. It came closer and it was spinning, and the debris was flying everywhere, landing in the lake behind our house. And I was literally screamed out to my wife, get in the closet, get the dog. And I met her in there, and then we heard it come over the house. But it sort of veered a little because we didn't get that much damage, whereas some of my neighbors weren't as fortunate, and they really a lot of devastation.
Yeah, and you know, just to kind of walk out and see all of this, it truly looks like something out of a movie. I know that sounds cliche to say, but there's no other way to describe it. And I know we have this iconic almost picture for the worst reasons ever, but it is circulating of a dumpster on top of a roof, and you actually know the people that live there. Tell us a little backstory on that.
Actually, they just moved in 6 days ago.
Wow.
Their house is devastated, and to see a several-ton construction dumpster on top of their roof stuck into their house, it's just something out of a nightmare Disney movie. You know, you can't believe what you're seeing.
Absolutely, and it just goes to show just the sheer magnitude of how strong this storm must have been.
Yes, I mean, after it passed our house, I went outside and I said, okay, it was a little tornado. Then a fireman told me it was massive and that the damage elsewhere was just incredible. So.
And before we send it back, a message to people in this community and the surrounding communities who are waking up as far as moving forward here.
Well, I think, look, all of these things can be fixed. obviously the most important thing is that here I didn't hear of anybody getting even injured, which is a miracle in and of itself. So let's all feel blessed, and let's thank our first responders because they've been here. Our Congressman Brian Mast was here. Our mayor was just here, and they have our back. And I think that, we're all fortunate that we have them and a great city behind us. So.
Absolutely. Wonderful message. So thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. And of course, we're going to send it back to you guys at the station. We're going to continue to kind of make our rounds through these neighborhoods, and we will circle back in just a few.
Yeah, we're seeing so much of this incredible video of this damage, and but then when you really start hearing the stories of what these people are going through, to think that family in Avanir moved in 6 days ago.
Yeah.
6 days ago, and now going through tornadoes, and are now their home is what is going to become like the iconic photo and image of this storm, basically. Yeah. This just dumpster that's sitting on the roof.
I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I've seen dumpsters tossed around, but to go up that high.
And just sit
Incredible.
there. Our Charlotte Carl is also reporting from Fort Pierce. She's got the latest for us there.
Yeah, guys, we are out here at the Lakewood Park Church, and they're still getting an assessment of the damage, although a landscaping crew has arrived to start taking down and moving out some of the tree damage. So let's go through what we're seeing on this side of the church. So there's this small building that had a few large glass windows in addition to a stained glass window, and from what it looks like, a bench was lofted through these windows, which caused them to shatter, and so they're all kind of inside. It looks like one of the stained glass pieces remained intact, but it was just displaced from where it initially was on the kind of large window areas. And then when we're looking at the church itself, the roof was completely ripped off nearly on this side of the building. It looks like, there's a lot of open air right now at the top of the roof. And then when we look over on this side, there's another small building behind the church that has more roof damage, and it looks like the piece of the roof from the actual church itself was ripped off and thrown onto that small building, which is where the roof damage over there comes in. But there are shutters up on that building. There are shutters up on the church that unfortunately did not protect the church from the roof damage, but the windows over there look like they are more intact. More trees are down on this side as well, not completely uprooted, but kind of just shredded. And then most of the other trees that, it appears the tornado interacted with are almost completely bare. So as the parishioners continue to arrive, the message that they are sharing to us, it's just one of love and support and appreciation for their lives, and that everyone, that they are safe and their families are safe, although, they're still waiting to hear from some of their friends over in the Spanish Lakes community.
All right, that was our Charlotte Carl on the Treasure Coast for us. I also want to show you this video here. Really dramatic video here out of Hillsborough County. The sheriff's office sharing video of a 14-year-old boy that they found floating on a piece of a fence.
Oh my goodness.
That they say pulled to safety out of those floodwaters. Just incredible video to show you there. And that is just one of many water rescues that office has performed. Also on social media today, they just posted that they were able to rescue 135 residents of one assisted living facility that had floodwaters there. And some of their social media shows some of those elderly residents being loaded up and taken on boats. You see in their boats, they have their walkers with them. They have bags with them. These people, help is coming. But it is pretty incredible, the things that are happening in all parts of the state.
Yeah, all across central part of the state. We're seeing that certainly here too. Stephanie Valderrama is in Wellington. She's been in Wellington here for hours, giving us sort of the latest what's going on there. Steph, what are you seeing there now?
Yeah, so here I want to show you this because this stop sign was not here 5 minutes ago. So Village of Wellington crews came out here. They used this machine to put the bottom of it within like 30 seconds, and then they brought this stop sign out, and now it's here again. Same with across the street. Within like 2 minutes, it's here. Now I want to take you over here because I'm still in the Meadow Woods neighborhood, and it is just, this is probably one of the worst off homes that I have seen, just absolutely heartbreaking. As you could see, part of the roof was ripped off of this home by those tornadoes that moved through this area. I mean, even the front of the house, there's debris to the side from trees behind it. Things just moved and shaken around in front. But it seems like there's almost like a child's toy right wedged in between parts of the roof there, which is just so absolutely heartbreaking to see this family's home just destroyed. And, you know, we haven't seen this family return yet, but a few other families are starting to show up here. They're starting to return to their homes and see the damage. It is just so hard to imagine all of the emotions that is going through their minds. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because there was an elderly woman just wheeling her way back into the home, just sort of taking it all in. Now her home, there was, I would say, minimal damage in comparison to others in this neighborhood. Some of the tiles were ripped off of her home, and there was a couple down trees, but when I say people here are quick at getting things cleaned up. I mean, they've called in the experts who have brought equipment and sort of moved things out of the way. I don't know if, Shell, we can turn. So earlier I was showing you some of the debris that was on that home earlier. They had a big crew over there just clearing things, and they moved things out of the way. And when I say fast, I mean very fast. They've moved on now to another home, and really all of the neighbors here helping each other. They've, you know, contacted the pros to get some of that bigger stuff, but cleanup is moving forward, which is great to see because it's going to take quite a while to get this area cleaned up. Now, right now you're looking at another crew in this area starting to look around and picking up some of the tiles that were removed off of that home, and then, you know, sort of assessing the damage to see how do we move forward, how can we fix this. I did see a couple assessors out here taking pictures of people's homes, so it seems like, you know, if you were on the phone with your insurance company, they're getting people out here quick, which again is great news. But, you know, it's a long road ahead here for Wellington, but I'm happy to share, like the mayor has posted earlier from many hours ago, that there's no fatalities in this area. So while that's incredible news, you know, all of this can be fixed. Matt, Danielle.
All right, Steph, thank you very much. Top of the hour here coming up at noon. We're expecting to hear from Governor Ron DeSantis right there in Fort Pierce.
He's going to the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. We are there. We'll bring that to you live when we come back.
This is CBS 12 News at noon.
That's right. Our coverage tracking Milton continues now at noon. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Sam Kerrigan.
Yeah, I'm Matt Lincoln. We have an update just now in from the Palm Beach County School District. It says that their goal is to send kids back to school tomorrow. However, they are right now assessing the schools this afternoon, and an official announcement about the status of school tomorrow will be made later today. So again, the goal is to open up schools in Palm Beach County tomorrow, but the district is assessing those schools today, and will make an official announcement coming up later on.
And of course, we will bring that to you as soon as we hear from them. We do want to talk about what else is happening here in the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. We are learning today that there are at least 4 confirmed deaths in St. Lucie County. And Governor Ron DeSantis will be giving an update any moment now in St. Lucie County at the Sheriff's Office. We are going to bring that to you live as soon as he is there and ready to speak.
Yeah, meantime, we are seeing the aftermath of the tornadoes in St. Lucie County. Here, it destroyed a 10,000-foot sheriff's facility. You can see the structure fell on vehicles and a boat. Take a look at this. Crews assessing damage to Murray Middle School. This is in Port Salerno. The roof has been ripped off. That's an old abandoned chorus room. There's a drum there on the far wall. And the roof has been totally ripped off.
Martin County schools are closed tomorrow. That was always planned, but they are going to have to do some damage checking at all of their schools. Certainly, this is video. We are getting a look inside Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. Tropicana Field was hosting thousands of linemen and National Guard members as they prepared to respond to the damage from the storm. And then the roof was taken off. A spokesperson for the governor says the staging area, though, had already been relocated at the time the roof blew off.
It means everybody's okay. Also, take a look here, new video into the newsroom showing a massive sinkhole as a result of Hurricane Milton. This is in Hillsborough County. That's scary.
We're also getting new video out of the Tampa area where rescues are underway right now. Video shows police rescuing people that were trapped in an apartment complex. Not sure if that's what we're seeing here, but I mean, I think this is what we're seeing here, but we are certainly seeing the amount of flooding in that area.
Yeah, and in Clearwater, police are rescuing residents from a different apartment complex. Police there are saying officers are going just door to door, trying to check on the welfare of residents. Water there is chest deep and in some places neck deep.
Yeah, that is a scary situation over there.
I
certainly.
See a child being rescued on someone's back. Yeah, it's certainly scary out there.
All right, let's check in with Jen now at noon. Jen, what's the latest out here in our area right now?
Well, conditions have significantly improved since the overnight hours and certainly since 24 hours ago when we were tracking multiple tornadoes across the area. Here's a live look right now from Juno Beach. I mean, it's a beautiful one across the area, but we were dealing with, the destruction yesterday from Milton and also the strong wind gusts just last night. Now, winds are still up at this time, fairly, I'd say a little gusty along some of our coastal communities. A 36-mile-per-hour wind gust there in the Vero Beach area, 21-mile-per-hour wind gust there in Boynton Beach. The winds are calming down. We still have a wind advisory in effect right now with gusts that could be anywhere between 40 to 45 miles per hour, but I'm really anticipating those gusts to come down here over the next few hours. You can see here by about 3 p.m., winds are sustained anywhere between 15 to 20 miles per hour. Could see gusts around 30 miles per hour, but then later on tonight, we'll start to ease back the winds. Breezy conditions for tomorrow, and it is an onshore wind flow, so there's the chance for a few showers. The latest on Milton, though, has been sheared out. The structure of it pretty much lost, and you can see the center of circulation there now moving offshore, but behind it, dry air is filtering in across the Florida Peninsula. Milton will move on into the Atlantic as a post-tropical low pressure system, and we'll of course here locally have to see as we head through the day today the continued destruction that was caused by it just yesterday across the state of Florida. Matt.
All right, Jen, thank you. Continuing our coverage now, CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz is in Port Salerno. Lexi, we've been checking with you since very early this morning in that area. What are you seeing there now?
Yeah, Matt, I spent the day in the Stuart area, Port Salerno and Rocky Point. We are at Murray Middle School, which you were talking about earlier in the broadcast. You see this downed tree branch right here? That's not even the half of it. I'm sure that you're hearing the chainsaw behind me. This is what Martin County School District is picking up, the pieces of today. As you can see, windows broken, blinds broken, pieces of the roof torn off, debris across the field here. The fence broken. We also saw a soccer net tossed in the soccer field, completely flipped over. As we take more of a walk over here by Murray Middle School, we're actually going to show you that the neighborhood that's facing it, they're doing a lot of cleanup as well. You hear that chainsaw roaring. These people are really just going through the amount of debris in their backyard. It includes trees, it includes children's toys. I think I see a microwave. This is all part of people's homes who live in Port Salerno. We've seen roofs torn off. We've seen trampolines on the sidewalk. Just some really incredible stuff happening here. Everyone here that we spoke with, they say they're thankful to be alive. They know it could have been much worse, but again, not taking away from the severity of the damage that's been left behind by those tornadoes that ripped through here Wednesday. If you could see the debris stretched across Murray Middle School's lawn there. We've seen a couple of people picking up. We've seen school officials on campus. Martin County Schools saying that they're going to be surveying several campuses in the area, specifically mentioning Murray Middle School as one of the hardest hit that they have seen so far. You saw those pictures earlier in the broadcast. But back over here, like Sam mentioned, Martin County Schools closed on Friday as well, but it's going to take a lot more time to pick up this campus here at Murray Middle School. We'll keep you updated on air and online as soon as we get information from the Martin County School District. But for now, reporting live in Port Salerno, I'm Alexis Cruz for CBS 12 News. Back to you guys.
All right, Lexi, thank you. We do want to continue now our coverage with Kara Duffy. She has been live in the Palm Beach Gardens area for us for most of the morning. She is in Avanir right now. Kara, what are you seeing happening there?
Well, Sam, we continue to see a lot of devastation and damage to many of these homes out here, especially in this particular development here. It's called the Regency. It is a 55 and older community, and a lot of the people that live along this street tell us that they just moved in. These are all new builds, new construction projects, and they are just devastated to wake up and see the mess out here. But the good news, the rebuilding has already begun. It's unbelievable, really. We've seen neighbors helping other neighbors inside of their homes. We had a handful of women walk over to an elderly gentleman. They went inside and they said, okay, we're here to clean up all the glass. They got to work. They helped him. It was really beautiful to see. There's been no questions, just a lot of people supporting each other through what's going to be a really tough time out here. You can see they're starting to board up some of these homes, and it's unbelievable when you just remind yourself these are new homes. Just 12 hours ago, brand new, and now they are just so upsetting when you look at how much damage was caused in just a few moments out here. And of course, a lot of neighbors kind of just gathering out here, comparing damages to what happened to them. And it really is tough to see. And a lot of people were saying that this tornado, they were preparing for a hurricane. They thought, okay, we're going to get rain, we're going to get wind, we're ready. And then we're shocked when it was a tornado after all. And, came out of nowhere. Many of them described how they locked themselves in closets or bathrooms. One woman told me she locked herself in a closet. She currently has 6 animals at her house, 6 dogs. She said she hunkered down and just let it pass. Thankfully, no one was hurt and they were okay. But again, the sentiment here through this community is just supporting one another and already finding ways to help each other out, to rebuild and to get back stronger than they were before, and just coming to terms with what went down here. But again, everyone just relieved that it was not worse and that no one was hurt. As we know, some of the other counties in our area were not as lucky as that, and certainly these people here are counting their blessings as they now look forward to building. Matt, Sam.
All right, Carrie, you can see how quickly they're working. You saw that restoration company truck driving in there, and it's worth pointing out too, we had Sheriff Rick Bradshaw on our newscast earlier, and he reiterated how very lucky Palm Beach County was. We see all of this damage to places like Avanir and Wellington, but no fatalities, no life-threatening injuries. A couple people did go to the hospital, but Palm Beach County incredibly lucky with the force of these storms that we are not seeing more people hurt or dead.
Yeah, just a lot of heartbreaking stories, you know, for these people who have to rebuild now. A lot of similar stories, people just hunkering down in the middle of their homes and then coming out and looking at the damage and seeing, you know, roofs gone and cars flipped onto their properties. And, you know, we heard from Sheriff Rick Bradshaw. He said, you know, he's lived here his whole life. He's never seen anything like this with these tornadoes and this kind of damage. And we've heard that from law enforcement on the Treasure Coast, too. They've just never seen anything like this.
And we keep on talking about that Avanir community. It's a brand new community. We're talking about homes that are less than a year or two old. So, I mean, just imagine if those were older homes or mobile homes that were in the path of that strong tornado. Again, you know, I know it doesn't help probably feeling those people right now, but they are very lucky that we are looking at what we're looking at right now.
And we are waiting for an update from Governor Ron DeSantis. He is in St. Lucie County at the sheriff's office. So as soon as we see him speaking, we are going to bring that to you live. In the meantime, we're looking at a gorgeous live shot here in Jensen Beach on this Thursday right now. We do want to remind you, as you're out and about today, if you have any photos or videos that you want to share with us, you can scan that QR code you see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You can also check our website, cbs12.com, to share any of that content with us. Again, we are waiting on the governor to speak. We will be right back. All right, welcome back to CBS 12 News. We continue to track Milton. We want to head back out to Wellington, where our Stephanie Valderrama has been live for us since 2 o'clock this morning. She's talking to neighbors out there, taking a look at the damage. And Steph, it seems like they're making strides out there to get things back to normal as quickly as possible.
They certainly are, Sam. Emotions right now are high here as neighbors sort of start returning to their homes and seeing the damage themselves. Neighbors embracing neighbors. One neighbor just breaking down into tears in her driveway, seeing what these storms have done to her home. Just really heartbreaking as they begin the road to recovery. Now, things have certainly picked up here in the Meadow Woods community. As you can see, there are just workers lining this road here, cutting down trees, removing debris, getting sort of things out of the way. Meanwhile, at this home over here, they're starting to, take that protection that they had put on their homes down now that the storm has cleared the state. And that's sort of the case at a couple of these homes here. But it is incredible to see just how quickly people are helping to clean up this neighborhood, because it's certainly going to take a group effort and professionals to get things back to normal here in Meadow Woods. But before I send it back to you guys, I cannot stress enough that in order for the workers here to be able to help these neighbors get their lives back on track, they need to be able to use the road. I cannot count the amount of people that are just wandering around this neighborhood, live streaming on their phone, trying to take pictures. Please do not do that. And I'm sure the people that I'm talking to are not watching right now. So if you are someone who is watching their live stream, tell them to go home, because it is blocking the city workers and those professional crews from being able to use this road to help these neighbors, which is the most critical thing. They want to get their lives back on track after these storms sort of changed. I spoke to a neighbor earlier. I said in 3 to 4 minutes, her entire life changed. So please stay off the roads. We're about to get out of here. Allow the crews to use these roads to help these people who desperately need it. Sam, back to you.
Summed up very well by Stephanie right there. She's done incredible work in Wellington all morning.
All right, we do want to check back in with Danielle DeRoss now, who's been keeping an eye on what's happening across the state, including power outages. Danielle?
Yeah, we are not seeing power outages trend in the right direction. They're at 3.4 million customers out right now all across the state. Every county you see here in yellow, orange, or red, that's where we're seeing significant power outages right now. Almost all of Sarasota County is in the dark. Same for some of these other counties right here, Highlands, Hendry County. A lot of customers in Hillsborough and Pinellas County, also hundreds of thousands of outages right there. So that is the latest update for power outages, and we know that linemen are out in full force, tens of thousands of them. Many from other states have come in to help. So they're getting out there and they are trying to restore these outages, but it's going to take quite a long time. We do see some other images coming across social media right now. Water rescues are still underway. This is out of Pinellas County. The sheriff's office sharing this video here, and that is a man with a backpack carrying a dog that was rescued from floodwaters there in Pinellas County. And then I also wanted to show you this. I've been trying to find some of the latest images out of areas like Venice, because we know that some of those barrier islands have been cut off and people were not allowed to be there to take pictures. So we are starting to get some of our first images of those barrier islands where Hurricane Milton hit last night. And this here shows a home on the immediate coast, which is buried up to the roof in sand. So that is what they are dealing with, some of those coastal communities, Matt and Sam.
Wow, Danielle.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
That's sand?
It is, yep. And you see here a tree, palm tree that's been knocked over on the side. But yeah, that is ocean and then sand and then almost up to the roof. You've got it up there, piled up.
We need to start tracking sand surge for these storms.
Oh my goodness.
We've got more here, as of course we are looking at the leftovers here of Milton this morning. Let's take a live look now out at Chunho Beach, where it's just an absolute beautiful day. And we're looking at what's going to be an absolute beautiful weekend too, which so many people who are watching this right now deserve. You can share your photos and videos with us by using the flow code in the bottom left corner of your screen. We'd love to share them with our viewers as well. Stay tuned. You're watching CBS 12 News. All right, welcome back. We've got some video we want to show you out of northern Tampa where there's some extensive flooding you see right here.
Roadway is just completely underwater on that side of the state, Jen. Different impacts than what we saw here on our side.
Much different. We saw the severe weather impacts, but here along the west coast of Florida, yeah, we saw the surge and also the highest winds too. And then on the north end of the system, they had to deal with the flooding concern too, just north of the I-4 corridor. So a lot at play. And if we take a look at our graphics right now, we can kind of see the landfall situation of when Milton made landfall. It was a Category 3 storm with winds up to 120 miles per hour. So when it made landfall, it was still technically a major hurricane, but as it crossed the state, it eventually became a Category 2 hurricane and then a Category 1 hurricane once it moved off the coast of Florida. But of course, associated with that, you had to deal with the bands of the outer bands. We had to deal with the outer bands of Milton, which produced significant tornado threat across our area. We had 126 tornado warnings issued across the state. And in our local area, we've been watching, yesterday we were tracking long range tornadoes that were extending through multiple counties. So long track tornadoes that were extending through multiple counties.
Yeah, but we're done with the weather threats now.
Yes.
You know, we've been on the air since 4:30 yesterday, and now with no more weather threats, we're going to return to regular programming. But we do want to let you know that Governor DeSantis is set to speak here at some point soon, we're told, in Fort Pierce, and you can watch that on CBS12.com.
That's right. We'll bring that to you when he starts speaking. I can see they're set up there at the sheriff's office in St. Lucie County. We appreciate you sticking with us here during our storm coverage tracking Milton. We will see you again for our next newscast coming up at 3. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe out there.